beside thee. Great, great and mighty the walls around thee. Great, great and mighty the gates beside thee.
Okay, thank you. May I have a seat, please? The next person, she's a legal research and policy advocate, peace builder, yesterday elected as a president from the Cohort 11, the Umama Jennifer Michael, please.
Good morning, everyone. I will stand on the existing protocol. Welcome remark, Cohort 9 Capstone presentation. Good morning, distinguished guests, respected Rotarians, faculty members, fellows, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Cohort 11, it is my honor to warmly welcome you to the Capstone presentation of Cohort 9. Today is a significant milestone. The Capstone presents months of research, reflection, collaboration, and dedication to advancing peace and development. It is a moment that makes growth, resilience, and transition. Cohort 9, today we celebrate you. We recognize the discipline and commitment it has taken to reach this point. Your work reflects not only academic excellency, but also your readiness to contribute to meaningfully to peace-building practice. Thank you. We sincerely appreciate the leadership of Rotary International and Rotary Foundation for their vision and continual investment in peace building around the world. Our Rotary leaders, faculty, mentors, and donors present today, thank you. Your guidance does not only shape individuals, it strengthens communities across nations. We also acknowledge the Rotary Peace Center at Makerere University for providing an environment where fellows are empowered to grow as scholars and practitioners. Cohort 9, as you present your work today, know that your journey inspires us, Cohort 11. You have set a standard of teamwork, discipline, and excellency that we deeply admire. We are honored to witness this important moment with you. Welcome and congratulations on this remarkable achievement. I will also say to all of us sitting down here, if we truly commit ourselves to serving others before ourselves, we will not only change communities, we will change the world. Because at the heart of Rotary lies one powerful truth: service above self. Thank you. Omama Jennifer from Nigeria. Thank you.
Between Kenya and Uganda for his peace environmental building advocacy. So I'm going to give the floor to Mr. J. Gajera Malaga, in the representative of the Cohort 9.
Thank you, Pia. First of all, I echo also President Jennifer's message, and I thank her for expressing also what I have in my heart. If you have heard, Isaac started with all protocols observed. That's one expression that is very, very important here in Uganda. And I love it also because it honors the presence of our guests, but it's very, very efficient because it saves time. So it's honorably efficient. Okay. And one other expression that I have learned here in Uganda is jebaliko, which is a very, very, very significant. It seems simple, but it's very, very significant because it means thank you for a job well done. It is a recognition of the sense of purpose of the work that the neighbor, the person that you are greeting, has done. And I am a little bit Filipino, I'm a little bit Kenyan, I'm a little bit Ugandan, but I'm a little bit of a pastor also. So kindly allow me to request you to greet your neighbor, Jebaleko. Because this is what we are, this is exactly what we are trying to celebrate today, the work that we have been doing. And this is to recognize also the help of the Rotary Peace Center, the board members, our professors, my co-fellows, and then, of course, Cohort 11. Today, we will hear 18 stories. 18, right? And Jennifer already described how these stories are, how marvelous these stories are. But I would also like to take this chance to welcome Cohort 11. And I am looking forward to hear your stories also. Professor, as you have said, during the overlap week, we should bond together. And we have bonded enough, if not too much, right? That we would like to introduce to you to a new cohort. It's called Cohort 911. And I hope it's not an emergency call to the RPC, but it just means that we are always ready to help each other in times of crisis, as Professor Helen reminded us that we help each other to learn survival skills also. And that is what I would like to wish not just Cohort 11, but everyone, survival skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. So as you have seen, we already have a really interactive integration between our cohort. And also I celebrate that because that gives us a feeling of a family. The next person I'm going to call is the director of the Rotary Peace Center, the Professor Helen Nambalirwa Nabala.
Everyone knows that this is one of those days when I can't keep calm because I'm excited. So I'm going to request Professor Witch, who is very good with protocol, to avoid mixing up protocol. Professor Witch, please welcome the members in half a minute, and then we shall have our speech because we have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Prof. Our special guest today, the trustee from the Rotary International, the program manager for the Rotary Peace Centers globally here with us, Laura, the past district governor here with us, Honorable Mike Sabalo, other past, the governor here present as well, and other past governors and deputy governors, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, who is here with us, members of management of Makerere University, our distinguished guests, Rotarians from different parts of the world. Thank you. You are most welcome to Makerere University. The weather is very good. You've seen Uganda is a very blessed country. It's a productive country, so we have rain all the time. So you are welcome to this new weather as well. I'm not going to take long. I'll now hand over to my boss, the director of the center, and also the principal of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Helen Nambalira. Thank you.
I think by now everyone in the room knows that I would not have done it as well as Professor Erica Wicho-Chen. Cohort 911. Okay. Dear guests, in all protocol observed, allow me to introduce to you very, very strong men and women of Cohort 9 who are the reason as to why we are here today. Cohort 9 members, please stand up. I am happy to present to you 18 fellows, 17 are with us physically, and one will be presenting virtually from Zimbabwe. The 18 fellows, because of time, I will not mention the different countries, but we shall understand more when we go to the gallery walk and the countries that they come from. I want to congratulate Cohort 9. It's been a long journey, and we can only say it is now coming to the end, but as we always tell you, at the Rotary Peace Center, we never say goodbye. So you can have a seat. We wish you a very good day today as you take us through your social change initiatives. You are actually very lucky to even have the governor in the house, a team from Rotary International, the university members of management. We have the dean of students, the deputy librarian in the room, and this is where the students normally go often. We have the academic registrar in the room. Without his signature, you cannot be admitted, and definitely the team leader, who is the Vice Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe. Professor, in the room you have 39 fellows, and 21 of those are Cohort 11. Cohort 11 members are on uniform, so please rise up so that the Vice Chancellor sees you and the team members. Prof, we have had a journey of so far 3 weeks with this cohort. 2 of them were virtual, and they arrived on Saturday. But they seem like they have been in Uganda for years when I follow their social media. So we are very glad to have you, and you'll be welcomed fully. Please have your seat. With me, I have a team. While I'm the team leader, we have the Deputy Principal, College of Humanities and Social Sciences, who works also tirelessly and is also a board member. We have other advisory board members. I'm not allowed to ask my bosses to stand, but they'll just wave to you. And in addition to that, we have members of management. We have Dr. Charlotte Mafumbo, we have Dr. Samson Barije, and we have Dr. Dixon Kanakulia. All these have been with the center since inception, and they are the reason as to why you find a very comfortable time when you come. We also have our PRO from the college support, and we also have the Dean of Students, please. I know I talked about you, but let them see you because you're a Rotarian. That's very special for us. And the Deputy Librarian. We have the International Office represented too. That's advancement. Yes, thank you very much. And I thought I should also have the pleasure to introduce to you our very able companions, the host counselors. Host counselors in the room, please stand up and wave. Vice Chancellor, whenever you ask how I manage to keep the fellows happy, I always tell you we have a secret in the host counselors. When we pump the fellows with the academic side, the host counselors are always quick to have them and take them out so that they can breathe. So host counselors, we are very grateful, and allow me have the pleasure to really thank Rotary International for choosing us and for choosing Makerere University, and also for all the sponsorship to the fellows. It would be unfair if I left this podium without telling you that every fellow you see, Rotarians spend $10,600 on each of the fellows. So when we talk about 206 fellows since inception in 2020, we are talking about over $2 million. So we want to thank you very much for the sponsorship, and like Oliver Twist, we want to say, please send us more. At this point, I would also want to thank the Chair Academic Board as I invite her to give a speech, because she's the reason why some of you, if not all of you, are selected. Even if we select and she says no, we all have to comply, because we know she will catch the E of the Vice Chancellor before us. So Professor Chomhendo Vantevia, we are happy to have you. Please have the floor to speak to the fellows. On behalf of the center, I want to assure you that we continue to grow. We continue to grow, and each and every Peace Fellow has been an addition. We want to thank you for being a contribution to the center. You have been part of the solution, and we say this with confidence. And it is because of that that the center has continued to grow and will continue to grow. All Rotarians world over, Rotaractors and friends of Rotary, please receive our gratitude, both in the room and also online. Receive our gratitude. We cannot thank you enough, but we can only pray that we continue with the process of ensuring that we train the peace builders that we want in order to contribute to our one of the 7 focus areas of Rotary, which is peace building. And we are in the month of peace building. I want to thank you. And I know the governor will be talking about the visit of the president tomorrow. I don't want to hijack the vice chancellor's speech and the governor. I haven't even mentioned that we shall be hosting the Rotary International president tomorrow. I haven't mentioned because that is going to be mentioned. I thank you very much.
Good morning, colleagues and friends. I'm going to stand on the existing protocol and appreciate all of you colleagues and all of you who have enormously contributed to this Peace Center. This Capstone workshop is always a delight. As a mother, I want to relate to that. You get pregnant, you nurture the pregnancy, and finally you deliver a baby. And today, we have Cohort 9 as our baby, presenting their projects. I want to congratulate you, and I'm super excited and waiting to listen to your exciting projects. The core business of this center, you are the center of it. The projects and the studies that you do promote and nurture peace in different environments, and that is very, very core. When we sit with the academic board and team, I want to ask them to stand for recognition, those who are around. Those who review these projects. Please stand and they clap for you. We go through an intense exercise to pick the best of the best, to pick projects that will make a difference to the communities where we live. I wish I could even say more. So the intensity, and we realize every year we get better and better projects, and we wish we could select all of them. So I want to congratulate you, and I don't want to waste more time. We are really eager to listen to these projects. I want also to thank all the mentors that you work with to deliver these projects. And we want to urge you, and it is the belief, and we urge you as Makerere University, that you're not stopping now. You're not stopping with a project. Because in these projects, we know you are continuing. It's just the beginning, and we pray and hope that you can continue extending the message and replicate the projects that you have developed. Cohort 11, you're most welcome. I know many of you we have met online, but we are happy to see you today. And we also read your projects, and we are also waiting to have a similar event where you will be presenting your projects which are building peace in different communities. I know we are running late. We're going to interact. We are around today, and we'll be listening. It is your day. It's not my day. But I'm super, and my team, excited that you're back. You have been mentored, and you have done what you proposed to do. You can clap for yourself. And I'd like to end and also invite the next speaker, Mr. Geoffrey Kitakule, the district governor, District 9213, to come and give their remarks. Thank you very much. Once again, we thank Rotary International for the great support they have given this center, and also the leadership of Makerere under Professor Nawangwe. We can never stop thanking you, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Mujebaleko. That's a term that the Peace Fellows say they need to remember. And indeed, it's an important term or greeting. It breaks the ice and creates harmony and peace between us. As I've been told, I'm Geoffrey Kitakule, the current district governor, District 9213. And I'm excited to be part of this. But I know the protocol has been observed, as I said. But I also like to recognize the Vice Chancellor, Rotarian Barnabas. It sounds good when you actually call him a Rotarian. After a protracted war to make him a Rotarian. Thank you very much for finally becoming a Rotarian. I'd like to recognize the academic board and also other professors and senior members of the university that are here. I'd like to recognize the Rotarians, my seniors, but also in the room, we have a past trustee, Gita Manek. Thank you for making the trip. And those Rotarians that have agreed to host our Peace Fellows, because when you make them feel at home, they enjoy their stay here, but also when they come into our homes, they really enjoy the peace that we enjoy in Uganda. So it's just not that we're having the Peace Center in Makerere, but we're indeed a peaceful country. So thank you very much for allowing to join Makerere Peace Center to build an education and a foundation that will impact and change our communities. I know you're going to present a lot of projects, experiences. My plea to all of you is that let us have these projects show the impact, what we do in our community. It's very humbling when you travel all over the world and you meet former Peace Fellows of this university. And they tell you, I was actually at Makerere. But I know the next thing also tell you that they enjoyed the Rolex. So please, make sure that when you're here, you enjoy the Rolex. But it's very impactful when they tell you the things they're doing in their communities. The challenge to us as Rotarians, we do a lot of good things. And yesterday, I was meeting the UNDP representative, and they also do peace as part of the initiatives. And she challenged me, where is the monitoring evaluation to see the impact of our Peace Fellows within the community, the last mile of people that we deal with in society. But I know the projects that we do touch all those people. But it would be nice for us to extract the impact that we have in the last mile of the people. I know you're going to enjoy your stay in Makerere. It's a very peaceful university. I was at the university when it was at the height of its turmoil. But I just need to confirm that I'm a very peaceful person. So enjoy your stay here and your good hands and professors that are going to support you in all this. I know they're going to do a good job. But as us Rotarians, please feel at home. Look for me, and I'll come back to make sure that you feel at home. But actually, I'm coming back even tomorrow with the Rotary International President, who is coming to visit the Peace Center. So those who can actually make it, I know the Vice Chancellor, it would be nice for us to be here to host the Rotary International President, because this is also at the core and the heart of Rotary, that we maintain peace around the world. I don't have to tell you what's happening in the rest of the world, but you know why the peace centers are very important to us. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day. I won't stay here for long because the Rotarians gave me so many assignments, so I need to be elsewhere. But enjoy your time here, and I'm sure we shall enjoy. I'll be logging in online if we're allowed to be able to follow some of the projects, some of the discussions, so we can make a difference in people's lives. And this year, we're uniting to make a difference in people's lives. Not only that, we know what we do as Rotarians makes an impact and makes us to the rest of the world, for them to know that indeed Rotary cares. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for listening to me.
Allow me to take the singular honor and pleasure to invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, to speak to us. Please welcome him.
Our special guests, the trustee and the manager of the peace centers, the governor, Rotary district, now I sometimes mix them up, 9 to 1. Past governor, all our friends in Rotary who are here, members of management, and the Cohort 911. Good morning. The one of the Rotarians said we should make this short by saying all protocol observed. And he said it is used here in Uganda, but let me tell you, all protocol observed is a Nigerian invention. But since they didn't patent it, we are free to use it also here. Okay, so we thank the Nigerians for inventing that. Then he also said, Gevaleko greeting people. The word Gevaleko is very tricky, because in this part of Uganda, they will just tell you Gevaleko, even if you are doing nothing. Okay? But it is an indication that you should be doing something, even if you are doing nothing. So it's very interesting. Now I will just make a few remarks, and I want to begin by the anthem, that Makerere anthem that was sung. I hope you were listening to those words. The anthem says, from east, from west, from north, from south, we welcome all of you to Makerere University. So I'm very happy that our fellows come from all over the world, from east, from west, from north and south. This university was basically built practically by the whole world, because the people who started this university were not the Ugandans, of course, were here, they gave the land, they built the houses, and they provided the students, but there were people from all over the world. When you go through the history of Makerere University, we have had here prominent people working and studying here from all over the world. We have trained leaders for the whole world. Of course, we always talk about those from Africa, but even the current Prime Minister of Grenada and St. Vincent is an alumnus of Makerere University, and that's in the Caribbean. One of the former Prime Ministers of Canada studied here. So Makerere is a very global university. The governor said it has taken me a long time to become a Rotarian. He said they struggled to make me one. No, they didn't struggle. I was actually just learning how Rotary works. Yeah? So that when I join, I don't go and taking retakes. Okay? And my first introduction to Rotary was in 1993. I was convinced by one of my colleagues, Professor Tusuvira, to join, and I came and attended several, but I think at that time I was not quite fit to be a Rotarian because I couldn't keep time, and I couldn't sing some of those Rotary songs, So, but when eventually I was declared a Rotarian, I felt a very heavy stone fall from my heart. Okay? It is like being born again. Okay? So I feel very different now as a Rotarian. And I feel the obligation that I must do more for humanity than I have done. Actually, at my age, I feel that I must do so much because I wasted a lot of time when I was not a Rotarian. Peace is very important. Peace is very important. And it is not big politicians and so on who will bring that peace. Actually, most times, it is the politicians who bring the problems. Okay? And we, the ordinary people, must then work around them to make sure that our countries, our people remain peaceful. So what the fellows are going to do in the communities after they have been here, and from what we see your predecessors doing, is extremely important. It is those small things you do in the communities that will keep the peace. And of course, we are waiting to see what Cohort 9, what they have been doing and what they are going to present. But we see from your predecessors that they are doing a great job around the world in the communities. Because it is those small things each one of us does. It is those things that Rotary does in the communities which keeps these communities peaceful. Rotary is doing a great job contributing to maintenance of peace among the communities. And I believe that you as fellows are going to do the same. I would like to welcome you, Cohort 11, to Makerere University. You said some of you have not seen me. You have been seeing me, but you didn't know who I was. Because I walk around a lot. And Cohort 9, thank you for coming to Makerere and studying here and doing the projects that you have done. And I do wish you all the best when you go back, wherever you are going to work. I like the way the fellows, I don't know whether that was the way it is structured, because you find the fellows come from one country, but they go to do work in another country. And that is, and they feel at home, like this one who, the pastor saying, I'm partly Kenyan, partly Ugandan, and partly Filipino. And I think that's the way the world should be. That's the way the world should be. We've hosted here Professor Jeffrey Sachs recently. He's a very prominent professor of economics at Columbia University. And he told us that the world now has created so much wealth that it should be enough for everybody. And there's no reason why there should be wars. Okay? We just need to work among the communities to make sure that there are no people who are underprivileged, okay, and that we contribute to that peace. Because without peace, the world is troubled. I would like to congratulate all of you, and I congratulate the center for the work well done, for preparing the fellows. And when you leave, please, as you heard from our anthem, do not forget the gates of Makerere. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. May God bless you all. Thank you. I think I was told that I should officially declare the Capstone 9 open.
Rotarian Professor Barnabas Nawangu. Actually, it sounds very nice, those titles together, right? Rotary, yeah, and all the professors here are Rotarians, so going forward, we must include that to their titles. All right. So if you can see on our agenda, Cohort 9 is going to take us through their presentations, what we call the gallery walk outside in the space. Okay. So let's. But I think there is something else that we'll do first before, yeah, like a photo moment.
The governor mentioned that he's rushing to another function, so would like the cohorts not to miss a photo moment with the governor. So we shall have a photo moment for cohort 9 first, cohort 11, and then others, because today is their day, so that's why we are now others. So the governor will be, the governor and the advisory board members, we can prepare. And cohort 9, please make sure you come in very fast. And I must say that, Vice Chancellor, next week you are graduating 40 fellows who have finished. That was cohort 7 and cohort 8. So 40 of them have successfully finished and they will be graduating out of the university. And I can proudly say their transcripts and certificates are ready. Thanks to you, management and the AR, for handing these over to us.
They all, I can say, for the matter of time, they all protocol observed. My project is just to strengthening the wide tribunal system for effective mediation process to maintain peace in Ilemela district. Why do we have this? The wide tribunal system face challenges attributed to lack of training, illegal setup not clear, and they don't have resources, including training. They're untrained. When I did, I say we did because when I was doing this, I was not alone. for the matter of sustainability to be incorporated into our project, I did this project with the government. And I did it purposely because this is a project. If you don't do it properly, normally they end up in shelves. So the situation analysis came up with a situation which even the government authority did not know, especially the gaps existing. There are no enough Ward Tribunal members. They drop because of lack of incentive, including allowances. So I made a recommendation, which I hope the government will take up to ensure the objective which need to be fulfilled by tribunal are fulfilled. And what was the impact? The impact, as of now, as I'm speaking, the White Tribunal members are now confident to conduct mediation process. In the past, it was quite different. Some of tribunals were doing litigation instead of mediation. And the results, instead of fostering peace, they were just promoting peace, promoting conflict in the community. But again, the authority, which actually are responsible for these tribunals, they are now aware of what is happening in tribunals. In the past, they used just to blame the tribunals, they're ineffective, whatever, but they didn't know what is happening on the ground. Now they know what is happening. But totally, there's a strengthening now, strengthened mediation, tribunal system on the ground, where we established the induction training manual for the new tribunal members when they join. At least before they go to the community now to provide services, they are well equipped. They know how they can provide the service, especially mediation service. There are a lot of conflicts on the ground. If are not handled properly, actually, they graduate to become more serious and the community become unstable, so the whole process of even development can't be attained. So to conclude, the training was done as one of the intervention to reduce this impact, but still there are a lot to be done from the government side. And there are a lot of recommendations which is forwarded to the government, including to make the resources available, to improve actually the working environment, because if this is not done, people are not ready to work at tribunal level. So I hope these things will go on, because the project is now within the hand of the government, because we collaborated together. They know what to do. They have all documents. They know what the situation. We know in the future the peace will be maintained. And that's the real objective of this project. On that note, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Godasto, for keeping time. You deserve a standing ovation. But a clap is enough. So thank you. So the rest of the presenters, take a borrow a leaf from him. And the next person to present is Vivian Agaba from Uganda. She's a journalist and founder of Global Peace Journalism Foundation. Vivian, you're welcome.
Can I be seen? Okay. Good morning. All protocol observed. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Vivian Agaba, and I'm a journalist from Uganda. Have you ever imagined, especially if you're Ugandan, have you ever imagined what it would be like if security agencies and the journalists work together as a team, not as enemies? Maybe we would have more peaceful elections. As you can see, my project was about promoting lasting cordial working relationship between journalists and security agencies for sustainable peace, security, during, before, and after elections in Uganda. For Ugandans who have been following our elections, every time we are in the election period, it's as if journalists and the security agencies are enemies. But we are not supposed to be enemies. We are supposed to work together to serve the public. So why do we always have the fights? I organized my social change initiative. I organized 3 trainings and 1 dialogue. For the trainings, I wanted to make sure I meet each group on its own. So I first met the senior superintendents of police, senior superintendents of prisons, journalists, and then we had a general dialogue. The separate trainings we had, we wanted to educate the police officers and the prisons officers on the rights and duties of journalists so that they understand where journalists are coming from when they are doing their work. And then when we met only the journalists, we wanted to teach them the roles and responsibilities of the police so that they also understand where the issues are coming from or what the roles and responsibilities of the police officers and the prisons officers are. And then when it came to the dialogue, our main concern or our main focus was to understand the deep issues. Apart from seeing them harassing journalists on the streets, what is the issue? And one of the points that was pointed out was that the security officers believe that journalists in Uganda, when we are covering elections, we take sides. They feel that journalists focus more on promoting the opposition agenda, and that's why they come for them. And then the journalists they told the police officers and the prisons officers, they feel they are biased. So we asked ourselves, how do we move forward? And they said collaboration, partnerships. And they also appreciated the fact that they were in the same room, because they said this was one of the first dialogues where they were brought together to really discuss. In the past, they have had similar trainings, but separately. Journalists are on their own, the security are on their own, but this time they were brought together. And I remember one of the impact was that during the general dialogue, the police officers and the security and the prisons who were in the room, they promised us that we are going to provide an environment in the 2026 elections where journalists can do their work without being intimidated. And when you compare the elections of 2016 and 2021, the ones of 2026 were quite peaceful. Even other Ugandans can attest to that. And for that, I can say that was a win for me. Of course, I'm not the only one, but we are many who have been in these spaces who are saying security, as journalists and security, we can work together. We are not enemies. We are partners in development. And when Uganda is peaceful, it works for all of us. Then the other impact, apart from engaging them, one of their bosses, the commissioner in charge of human resource, he told me, Vivian, this is a very good initiative. Please do not stop at the project or the Peace Fellowship you're doing at Makerere. This is something that we can expand countrywide. And he says, when your capstone is done, come, we have a dialogue, come and sit together. We sit together and we see how we can expand your initiative beyond Kampala, because my initiative was in Kampala. He says, come, we sit, we discuss how we can expand your initiative beyond Kampala to other parts of the country, where journalists and security agencies can sit together and discuss how we can have peaceful elections going forward. And still on my impact, going forward after this capstone, I've started my own foundation. It's called Global Peace Journalism Foundation, where I'll be engaging security, but also mentoring journalists, especially the young journalists, to embrace peace journalism. Peace journalism is about promoting dialogue. It's about reporting and giving things context, not using journalism to inflame tensions. Okay? So that is, going forward, that's what I'm going to be doing. In conclusion, I worked with 15 superintendents of police. I worked with 10 officers from prison, and then I had 10 journalists. And before I conclude, I would like to appreciate my mentor, Madame Charlotte. She was very helpful. Where things didn't work out, initially I meant to train the army, but the army was not forthcoming. When I called her, she said, Vivian, let's have plan B. And then we got the prisons officers. I would like to say thank you so much to my mentor for the job well done. As I conclude, I would like to say that journalists and security agencies are not enemies. We are Ugandans, and if we work together, we can promote peace in the country. I look forward to 2030, where we have no incidences of violence, not only violence against journalists, but free elections free from violence, even free from where Ugandans can go to the polls, vote, go home, and they know there's no one going to be disturbing their peace. Because according to our constitution, every Ugandan has a right to go and vote without intimidation and harassment. Thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Vivian. Wow, this is an amazing team. In terms of timekeeping, kudos to you. Thank you. And Laura is here. She has had your prayer that by 2030, the next election, 2031, we shouldn't experience violence. And what that means is that Rotary International should fund more peace fellows to start the peace, to become fellows and contribute to electoral violence prevention. So, yeah, thank you. Next, we are going to hear from Bashana Medad from Rwanda. He's a museum manager, and he works under Rwanda Museums. Medad, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. As my colleagues said, protocols observed, as usual, for the sake of timings. I'm Medad Bashana by names. I'm a Peace Fellow from Rwanda, Cohort 9. And my social change initiative largely focused on nurturing dialogue and oratory skills among youth in schools to counter genocide denial, hate speech, and promote unity and reconciliation. And before I would dive deep into my social change initiative, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor for saying that we should not forget the gates of Makerere. I always had in my mind and in my heart that one time I will enter into the gates of Makerere. I'm now here because I know what it means, since Makerere University has nurtured thousands and thousands of intellectuals, so I always knew I'll be among, and today I am. So thank you so much to the Makerere University and Rotary in particular. So thank you so much. As I was saying, Rwanda is a country moving away from a tragedy of 1994, a tragedy that befell our nation, which is the genocide against the Tutsi, and left our country in total ashes and in mess, where everybody was thinking who will be there to save a sinking boat all over the world. And that is when few of among the human beings who composed the Rwanda Patriotic Army at the time took their initiative to stop genocide and then defeat genocidal forces at the time. But then defeating was one. How do you again embark on the process of peace building? And actually not only peace building, but sustainable peace building, and then you bring back the nation to the whole global world. That is why, among the turbulent waters of challenges Rwanda has been facing, the persistent ones, or the challenges that are persistent, are genocide denial. There is this historical distortion of facts, and then there is also hate speech, both internally and at the same time externally, whereby we have spillovers from the region. And most especially when we talk of denial, you will always find people wanting to rewrite the history and at the same time assaulting the survivors who survived this genocide. So my social change initiative was aiming to target the young youth or students from schools, because almost a bigger population of Rwanda currently is made up of youth, almost 60%. Some of them are even born after the 1994 genocide, and a large number is found in the schools. And guess what? In education settings, we have been experiencing something, I would say, manifesting itself, that these students are now starting to deny genocide. And this is because it stems from the family settings, it stems from the narrations they get back home, it stems from the peer interactions, and when you hear their language, when you hear them talk, you hear them having some coded languages, but full of kind of denial. You listen to them, you hear them with words that really undermine the magnitude of the 1994 genocide. So when we had this, personally, when I was pursuing these courses of peace here, when I was listening to one of our professors, Charlotte Mafumbo, he said one drop in an ocean creates splashes. So I started thinking that with my SCI, can I create these splashes across the country? Then that's how I came up with the idea of taking my social change initiative into the schools. And then I decided to work with 2 schools, secondary schools, and we chose 60 students. You might think 60 students is just a little number, but I want to say you don't need the whole of a matchbox to burn a forest. You just need a single stick, and then the whole forest is burned. And as those who read the Bible, they do say Jesus Christ only needed 12 disciples to spread the good news. So I'm ready to use the 60 students from 2 schools to spread the good news across Rwanda and then fight the genocide denial and hate speech. And then I also decided that probably they have been listening to theories and hearing these facts in school. But how about the experiential learning? Taking them out of school, make them go to visit genocide memorials, whereby they really understand the magnitude of the atrocity, the impact, the genesis towards the genocide, and how it is affecting the nation building currently. That is first. Secondly, to the museums, whereby they can learn the outstanding values that really encompasses heroism, that has sacrifice, that has integrity, and these values come to help these students, shape them as human beings. Because the fact is that we saw 2 ends of the human being. The extremist going towards the end of the extreme barbaric behaviors, but we also saw a human being going the extreme end of peace by stopping genocide and rebuilding a nation. So experiential learning was important, and at the same time to the museum. But also evaluation sessions were done to make sure these students can be able to have that oratory skills, public speaking, at the same time be able to talk about these sensitive topics. Because when you don't engage them when they are still young, they will end up not being engaged when they are old. They always say in our Kinyarwanda that you have to take care of a small tree if you want it to be straight. So you start with these kids at that time. And then we quickly saw impacts, actually 4 impacts. The first one was the students demonstrated the outstanding understanding of these historical events that culminated into genocide, its impacts and its effects, and how to counter denial, hate speech, and distortion of facts. Secondly, we also saw that the students demonstrated a greater willingness of dialogue among themselves on sensitive topics. The third impact we saw was that now these students are able to themselves discuss these sensitive topics, but not only discussing them as sensitive topics, but also having these facts well articulated chronologically. These students gained enough of confidence to publicly speak out of what happened because they have these facts. And then, after all these outcomes, the last point I would figure out, that was the impact, but way forward and conclusion. I would say that investing in the youth, especially in terms of dialogue, public speaking, oratory skills, is a strategic investment to sustainable peace. People should be thinking about this. Another fact I would want to bring out for people to understand is that when you build these kids in terms of their mind and knowledge, and you teach them about positive peace and the importance of having lasting peace, you are likely mostly to have a point of seeing them being strengthened enough to prevent genocide, foster unity and reconciliation, but above that, help you in building positive peace in one way or the other. And then the last one, I would want to say, looking forward, I'm working with the Ministry of Education currently to see how they would integrate the debate, the dialogue, but also these oratory skills into their curricula so that these students start early visiting memorials, museums, and at the same time grab the whole knowledge they need to keep up going ahead. I would love to say, before I leave the floor, by saying that it is always peace talks and dialogue. It is not peace jokes. And I would love to say Rwanda managed to decide on this, that we cannot turn the clock back, nor do the harm done, but we have the power to determine the future. And determining the future, you always have to have these generations that are young. To the fellows, I would love to say, we separate to meet, but we don't meet to separate. Let us work together across the world. Let's change the world. Let's echo the music into our ears for peace. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Medad, for using your time well. You were within the time. You spent your maximum minutes. And I'll maybe talk a little bit more about Medad. He's a fellow and facilitator in Rwanda during our field excursions as fellows. So, campaign against the Genocide Museum based at the Rwandan Parliament. So, having such a person amidst us is a very, very good, is a big contribution towards peace building. So at this moment, I am going to welcome someone from South Africa. His name is Zuko Luyanda. I won't mention his third name because of time. But what I can say is a community development practitioner, writer, and CEO of Inculeto. Inculeto means freedom. So you're welcome. Zuko.
Greetings, colleagues. As introduced, my name is Zuko Luyanda Katavamaka Somfian. Allow me to say Ngaka Nenzibazayo, that is to say all protocol observed. My social change initiative. Let me premise this presentation by saying that for the longest time, I also struggled to see the intersection between development and peace building. And during the course of this fellowship, often colleagues and academics and everyone will ask, you are saying you are in peace fellowship, you are a peace fellow. How does that link to the kind of work that you do? Because we know you from community development. And lucky enough, I think the intersectionality of the two has been really outlined within the principles of peace, positive peace, as mainly outlined by IEP. So my project, which focused on exploring the financial sustainability models of NGOs in Makanda, kind of like illuminated that. So my initiative had 4 phases. It was held in Makanda. Makanda in South Africa, as you know the history of South Africa, the historical racial divisions, and Makanda is no exception to that, the context is characterized by having civil society having to play a pivotal role in development, in terms of employment, in terms of peace building, in terms of just illuminating the human condition to the best of its ability. So this community has many NGOs. If you know it, you'll know it's known for its education institutions. And second to that, it's known for its many NGOs that really contribute to the community. And that is mainly due to the historical past and also the failures of the government. So my initiative then was to say, how do we then strengthen this organization for financial sustainability? And the answer to that was that we had to assess what are these financial sustainability models that the NGOs in Makanda are already engaged in. And it was so interesting to find that social entrepreneurship is one of them. And then the second phase then allowed us to then take that social entrepreneurship and capacitate the NGOs in that social entrepreneurship so that they're able to be financial viable or to achieve financial sustainability. One will ask, achieve financial sustainability through social enterprise and training and all of that. The third phase, when these organizations were already capacitated in that regard, was to say, let us trial this, let us do this to see if what we've learned or what we're capacitated about can actually work. So the third phase really focused mainly on piloting, having this market day that NGOs had together, and they raised money, which then led to the last phase, which was the establishment of the Sustainability Fund. A model that speaks really to organizations really moving away from the role of being beneficiaries or aided by grants to say, what are some of the assets that we have? And the whole thing was really framed within the asset-based community development approach, which then recognizes the assets that the community has than the deficits. So the really impact was really the organizations being involved, the Sustainability Fund being established, and also the model that these NGOs can use to advance their sustainability, especially the financial part of it. I mean, all of us were taken by storm early last year when it was announced, by an institution that will name that funding is being cut. And then on the streets, you could hear this question, what will these NGOs do now that the funding has been cut? Projects and initiatives like this, they speak to self-reflection within these NGOs to say, what is it that we can do on our own that really can sustain, these institutions, because they play a very pivotal role, especially in contexts such as Makanda. So, lastly, I would like to really thank the center, the fellows, and everyone that is involved in implementing this initiative. Thanks to Rotary International. We really hope that you continue supporting this program, because the impact really speaks to what the communities need. It might be just 11,200 rand sustainability that is in the sustainability fund that has been established, but that speaks to the life of an NGO that is contributing to a lot of issues: health, education, peace building, and the development of those communities. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to more collaborations, and thank you. Enkosi Kamako.
Thank you. Zuko, greetings to Julius Malema. At least whoever is in this room knows him. The next person whom we knew so much is the late Nelson Mandela. So greetings to everyone, and thank you. The next person on the lineup is from Lesotho. She's a teacher. She's a teacher, advocate for women's rights and sexual and reproductive health and rights education. And her name is Tebelo Agnes Singh. Agnes, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and I would like to respect all the beautiful greetings which my dear fellows have already passed. So, yeah, it's me, Tebelo, from Lesotho, and yeah, I want to pass a question before you. Or maybe I can just say, just reflect or go back to your community. Think about the brilliant, capable young boys and girls in your community, and think about those maybe which sometimes when you meet them along the ways or the paths, you see them maybe not well, maybe worried. Some of them are not going to school, or some of them maybe they are doing some petty jobs at home. So, to come back to my project, I would say that in Lesotho, I was worried about young girls falling pregnant, young boys, seeing them maybe engaging in substance abuse, seeing them in the streets, not going to school. So I thought to myself, what could be done to help these kids? And I found that some of their tribulations maybe are due to the lack of this, the comprehensive sexuality education, because I believe that this kind of education is holistic. They need to have this kind of information. They need to know about themselves, their values, their rights, like how do they, okay, sorry. So to cut the story short, yes, I implemented this project in 2 schools, Assumption High School and Diodi High School, where I was able to empower 112 students, both girls and boys, aged between 12 and 15. So I collaborated with the life skills education teachers, the Ministry of Education, and UNFPA Lesotho. I was delivering the comprehensive sexuality education in weekly like in one school, I would go once in a week, the other another a day in a week. So it was a project which ran between May and September. So at the end, we were able to establish 2 SRHR teen clubs, one in Assumption High School and the other in the Tawaneng community. So it was a well-embraced project. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I can have some questions if you may have, but it was a well-established project where where I was trying to encourage our young boys and girls to go back to school, avoid risky behaviors, and know your rights. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Agnes, for keeping time. And she has introduced me to something that I would like to pause a little bit and have some questions if you have. Any comment? From all the presentations, by the way, not only hers, but the previous presentations that we've had, if you have any comment, if you have a question, kindly, you can raise up your hand. Yes, Doctor. Now, I don't know. Do we have a moving mic?
Thank you very much. I have 3 questions. One to Mr. Mudima. Your topic, strengthening ward tribunal system, but I didn't see you exploring theories of mediation so that you zero down to one which is effective. You could explain that. The next is to Vivian Agaba, promoting relationship between journalists and security agencies. Lately, my daughter is aspiring to be a journalist. She's in vacation. And she came and asked that, I want to apply to be a journalist. But I remembered how some journalists were killed. So I was so concerned. So I would really like to know from your study, the framework which you have agreed with the security agencies so that my daughter will be safe. Thank you. And then number 3, the last one, for Medad, he talked about nurturing dialogue to avoid genocidal issues and hate speech in Rwanda. That's a very important topic. And you did the research in schools. Actually, we should appreciate schools. Schools are environments where children from different tribes and backgrounds, they live together in harmony for the entire period. But when these children come out of school and join community and become us to manage society, why does these differences of tribal comes and we fail to manage it? There's something which we should learn from school management that is very effective in completely silencing this, and children live in harmony, and we cascade that to society. I would like to know whether some lesson is learned that we can cascade to society to bring peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question before they can respond? Is there any other person, or we give them an opportunity to respond? Yeah, so Medad, Vivian.
The development plans of the existing governments. Because if we do contrary to that, those projects can't last longer and they won't be sustainable. So that's why I was working closely with the legal office to ensure what we are doing, we are just improving the existing situation. Because we don't imposing things, and what we are coming is improving what is existing, but to bring more impact, contrary to what it is today. So the issue of sustainability was taken care of strongly, and because the regional office authority was aware, and actually they embraced the process, they were just complaining. These white tribunals are not working properly, but they didn't know what is happening on the ground. So the issue, when I did the situation analysis of the white tribunal, I visited all 19 white tribunals to do the analysis and discussing with white tribunal members. So the report was taken to them. Now they were just, wow, this was happening. So their role was just basically to complain and they blame the white tribunals, what they are doing, and they forgot their role to strengthen their performance. So they didn't know what was existing, but now they know what they can do. We have the induction manuals developed together with the team, the government system. So they will continue using that system. So the sustainability is part of it. That's what I can say on my side. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. One was about the framework. One thing I will tell you is that please encourage your daughter to be a journalist. It's one of the best professions in Uganda and world over. But when it comes to a framework, one of the things we discussed with the security agencies and journalists was that we need more collaboration and, of course, also more sensitization about each other's rights and duties and responsibilities, because when they understand where each profession is coming from, then the likeness of confrontations are likely to reduce. So we agree that beyond the initiative, we need to do more collaboration beyond Kampala and then take it across the country. And of course, when we understand each other and where we are coming from, then we are likely to see less violence or less confrontation, and then the ground will be safer for the journalists. And then when it comes to the issue of sustainability, apart from starting the foundation, I'll have different partners I'm looking at working with. The police, they really like the initiative, and they're encouraging me to go ahead and go beyond what I did. And they said, well, when you finish, please come, we sit together and we see how we can support each other to move forward. But then apart from the security, I'm also looking at other organizations. There is a lady in northern Uganda. She has a foundation that is into peace building and journalism. I actually reached out to her, and we are planning on meeting, and then we discuss how do we move forward. So apart from my own foundation, I'm looking at how do I partner with the different organizations, because you can, peace building is so broad, you cannot do it alone, you need other partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The question that was meant for me is a way how we would cascade the lifestyle of students at school back into their communities. And I myself, I would dream that, because if you could see how students live together in high schools, how they are admitted, how they go together in dormitories, how they sleep, how they clean together, how they go to play together, and then return back home to their communities. You would wish that what takes place at school is the same thing that takes place in their communities. But guess what happens? There is a fertile ground, the families, where most of all this kind of denial, hate speech is planted. And I want to drive this point out clearly. This is a country that is only 30 years from the 1994 genocide. Contextualizing a family setting in the last 30 years is like you had a Rwandan family that was almost hopeless. If not all parents had died, killed, some had involved in the killings, others were either in the part of the army or others lost their kids trying to stop genocide. So they have this physical harm and others have this psychological and emotional trauma. And guess what? This is transgenerational. It moves within their children as they grow. But when they get to school and they are taught about these historical theories and facts, that's when they start questioning that, why are we called this and that? Why were my parents involved in such and such? So in the peer interactions, that's when they start bringing out what they are told at home. And when I was doing this, I had to go behind and beyond to discover really where is the fertile ground. And when I was discussing with students, what they told me really is what their parents were telling them, contrary to what is being done in some policies and frameworks of the government. But what I would want to assure you in terms of the way we are teaching our children, and which answers the same question Professor had asked me of sustainability. We are now working with Rwanda Cultural Heritage Academy. We are working with Nyanza District, where I did my project. And I'm also knocking on the doors of the Ministry of Education to make sure that this experiential learning we are talking of, not only that students are given that theories in class, but they should also get out of the classes, go to the memorial sites, see the magnitude of the atrocities, the genesis towards the planning and execution of genocide, its impacts, and how the country is boldly working towards saving this situation. When we say this, leadership turns out to be central and focal. And we are lucky with the very good leadership we have. We have now set principles. And Rwanda is being governed by 3 principles currently. We decided to stay together, and if the leadership is moving the tone and the music, it becomes easier to spread to the ears of the followers. And secondly, we chose to think big. You will never think big when you are still in denial, hate speech, distortion of facts. And again, we decided to hold accountable our leadership. And holding accountable the leadership doesn't leave behind the youth. And we are lucky that our youth at the forefront of everything the government is trying to do. So within this sustainability plan, when we integrate this cultural heritage part into our curriculum, our students will be able to tackle both the memorial sites visits for free and at the same time, museums for free with Rwanda Cultural Heritage Academy that governs the 8 museums. And then we will be rest assured that our youth from the beginning and from an early age will really enjoy the fruits of unity and reconciliation that is being fostered by our government. But really the setting in which the students are before they go back to the fertile lands at home, the setting is really good, and it's a point taken that maybe we should also bridge that gap, that if they are going back home, how do we also go back home with them so that this setting continues back home? I think that is also a task to consider. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Medad, and the team that has responded to the questions.
Adolescent HR clubs, some of them were to promote ownership, for them to understand that this is theirs and they have to become advocates of this theme. And again, it's the space where themselves could sit alone, talk about this, find solutions. And again, the UNFPA Lesotho has liked what I'm doing and has invited me to accept their offer of the training they say to me, Tibelo, we want to train you so that you become a certified a mentor, so that you keep on promoting this and maybe working with other schools around Berea. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the response, Agnes. And since we've taken a lot of time in the Q&A, I'm going to kindly request you not to utilize all the 10 minutes. So try to summarize. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I stand on the existing protocol of my predecessors. I am Melvina Y. Thomas from Sierra Leone and the founder and director for the Oasis Foundation. We are registered in Sierra Leone, Ghana, and the USA. My SCI topic is strategies for combating gender-based violence, discrimination, and gender equality in Sierra Leone, and my location of implementation is Waterloo. My presentation is structured as this. First, I'll share with you why we chose Waterloo and how we identified the problems, what solutions we brought on board. I will also look at the impact, the outcomes, and plan for sustainability. So why Waterloo? Waterloo is a hotspot for conflict. Waterloo was completely destroyed during a gruesome, more than a decade civil war in Sierra Leone. Waterloo was declared as a national threat to peace and security in the whole of Sierra Leone in 2022. Prior to commencing the implementation of my SCI, we held consultations and confirmed that women and children are the ones suffering the most in all of this. Waterloo is marginalized and underserved. There is critical suffering in Waterloo, and the women and children are languishing in poverty and are vulnerable to all sorts of abuse, exploitation, oppression, and suppression. It's worrisome. It's a cry of SOS, and this is why we prioritized it. How did we come about the solution? We went to the grassroots women. We gave them a platform to express their voice and come up with solutions. And it was amazing, the solutions we found right there in Waterloo. Sometimes the solutions to our problems are right under our noses. But we go all over the place, far and wide, searching for solutions when they are right there in our communities. When we ask them, what do you think we can do immediately to change your situation? Because Sierra Leone has ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. We have the Gender Empowerment and Equality Act for women in Sierra Leone that was passed in 2022. But what can we do? Because these laws, we are not meant to just go sign and ratify them. We have to apply them for the conditions of women and children to change. So how can we apply these laws immediately to see change? Because we've seen the suffering. Women are dying from abuse, domestic violence. How can we help you? You can't afford a day's meal. You are suffering. And they said, Melvina, we need access to land. These men are even depriving us from owning land. They say women cannot own land, even though we are aware of the rules that we have access, but they are depriving us. So we sprang to work. We mobilized. We partnered with the community. We partnered with local heads. We mobilized with other local organizations, and we put pressure. So the men had no option. They had to succumb. They gave us 54 acres of land. And, thank you very much. And immediately we launched our campaign, She Grows. So we helped the women to have commercial farms. Through these commercial farms, they are able to put food on their tables and pay their children's school fees. And while they are growing crops for their survival, they are also growing as individuals. They are also growing as a community. Because, remember, Waterloo is a hotspot for conflict. and the government has declared them as a national threat to security. But now they're coming together to find a way to survive through agriculture. So we use this opportunity to train them in conflict resolution, and we are able to develop a better understanding of each other and conquer this divide. So through farming, we have been able to promote unity and contribute extensively to sustainable peace and development in Waterloo, to change the history of Waterloo from a hotspot of conflict to a hotspot of peace, prosperity, and unity. I'll try to summarize because of time. I'll dive straight into the awareness-raising section of my project, because we did do also vocational skills training, and we partnered with the Africa Prime Career College, which I'm also the founder and director. So we reached out for help to another institution in Uganda who has been doing a similar project, economic empowerment for women. So they helped us to design our curriculum, and probably they'll be visiting Sierra Leone to train our women. So for the awareness-raising aspect, if you have your rights and you are not aware that these rights exist, how are you going to claim them? Sierra Leone has all these fancy laws. That's what we found out. But when it comes to application, especially in the rural areas, they are neglected. Application is zero. So first of all, we let these women know, look here, the laws have changed in Waterloo, in Sierra Leone as a whole. Now you can inherit your husband's property. And if you are living with a man for, let's say, 10 years, and he has refused to marry you while you have worked with him for him to accomplish his dreams, realize his potentials, but he's refusing to marry you so that you don't benefit. Hey, look, wake up. The laws have changed. You can go to the government and register your common law marriage, and you can inherit all your husband's property and enjoy your other legal rights. So here we have a domestic violence survivor who experienced the same thing, oppression, suppression from her husband, abandoned her with the children. She's just giving the women hope, sharing her story. Because sometimes we found out that most of the women, they have this feeling of shame when they go through domestic violence. They don't want to speak out. They're like, why me? So we launched into storytelling and saw that it helps the women open up. When they saw that it's not only me, other women have gone through it, and they even survived it to become great people in society. They raised up their children successfully. So they started coming up with their stories. And then I called, because I'm an international human rights lawyer, so I called my other lawyers. I'm like, look here, some of these cases, we need legal action. We need to help them register their marriages. We need to help them access their inheritances. So we went to work, and on a whole, we were able to impact like 150 women. So now, we have 150 women working with their heads held up high in Waterloo. They can put food on their table. They can send their children to school. And they don't have to say yes to everything the men are telling them, even when it's at their detriment, because they don't depend on them wholly for their survival or to give them something to eat. They can now feed themselves. So I want to conclude. There are takeaways from my SCI, major takeaways. One, the power of collaboration, the power of teamwork. If we had not collaborated with other organizations, how would we afford with our small seed fund, which was, I think, $700? How could we afford 54 acres of land to give to these women? Impossible. But because we partnered with other organizations, 54 acres of land, farmland, will be like close to $70,000 in Sierra Leone. So now we have this authority from the government. It is for the women. We train the women. So we cannot limit the power of collaboration and teamwork. We also, I must add that we also reached out to other cohorts. Cohorts 8, 5, our predecessors. And because of that, we have been able to sign a memorandum of understanding with a Rotary club in Germany. They are going to partner with us to continue training these women. And also, we are going to include the government officials, like the police and corrections officers, so they can mainstream gender, even the Ministry of Agriculture, so they can mainstream gender into their action plans. It's good to have these policies, but we really need to see them in action. So we are going to do this training. So let me round up quick. I want to say special thanks to Rotary International. May God reward your generosity. This is life-changing, and it has a rippling effect. I want to see more girls, more women benefiting from this fellowship, especially women and girls from underdeveloped countries. I know what I saw in the field. Those women, some of them, they don't even have clothes to wear. The videos are with the Rotary Peace Center. Yes. And I also want to thank my mentor, Professor Eria. He was phenomenal. My special thanks to Professor Helen. She's my icon. She's so dynamic. A woman of substance. Yes. Professor Samson. You know, at Makerere, you have la crème de la crème. Cohort 9 benefits from your professors. You have the world best. Because your time on campus is going to prepare you for the implementation in the field. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Webale. Uganda, you have been kind to us. You have been generous to us. Makerere, you have been good to us. God bless you. God bless Uganda. May peace and sustainability continue to reign in Uganda.
Wow. Melvina Oye. Melvina, thank you, Melvina, for the presentation. Her project has appealed to my emotions, and I feel like crying. Thank you for the presentation. Now, when she talked of the Waterloo, for me, I was remembering the history I studied about the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon was defeated in 1815. So for me, my mind went to Belgium. But also this means, Professor, I know history, so if you're looking for teachers, look no further than Dr. Charity. You know that. Next, we will go to the next presenter. He comes from the armpit of Africa. Which country is that? Who knows the country? It's Gambia. We are going to hear from Robert Eka. He comes from Cameroon. He's a teacher, peace educator, youth mentor, founder of Association for Peace Education and Empowerment. Robert Eka. I don't know why there's repetition. Is it by mistake that there's another Eka at the end? By intent. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Robert Eka from Cameroon. My SCI is titled, permit me take you through my journey in photo slides. My SCI is titled, Engaging Youth in Sustainable Peace Building and Conflict Prevention through Youth-Led Peace Clubs within the Obili neighborhood in Cameroon. Now, in Obili, just like in many other parts of Cameroon and in some parts of Africa as a whole, the youths no longer believe that education is the key to success. As a matter of fact, some have the opinion that even if you have the key, the padlock has been changed. And as a result of that, their general level of academic consciousness dwindles so seriously. At the same time, the youths within my neighborhood are grappling with a lot of deviant behavioral patterns, including engagement in drug abuse, including continuous fighting and other forms of violence, which of course has a negative effect in their input in schools. As a matter of fact, due to these negative behavioral patterns, discipline is taking a very downward shoot within academic institutions in Cameroon. And that is where my SCI comes in to bridge this gap. In implementing my social change initiative, I established 3 peace clubs within 3 secondary schools in the Obili neighborhood in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Permit me mention the names of the schools: Champion Secondary and High School, Mada International College, and Frankie's Comprehensive College. Now, as part of our activities, we successfully enrolled 140 students from the 3 schools. And these 140 students were groomed in peacekeeping and peace-building skills, knowledge, aptitude, and competencies. As a matter of fact, they were trained in peace-building, They were trained in public speaking and peace advocacy, conflict resolution through intercultural and interreligious dialogue owing to the diverse nature of our country, mitigation against hate speech, misinformation, malinformation, and disinformation, campaigns against violence within the school environment, humanitarian actions, and community engagements. And I feel so proud to share with us all that amongst the 140 students who were enrolled in our clubs, 50 of them have been baptized, and they have been given the humanitarian baptismal name titled Rotary Youth Peace Ambassadors. Now, our Rotary Youth Peace Ambassadors, they are acting as the beacon light within the academic institutions. They are amplifying their voices in peace building in their academic institutions. Thanks to the wonderful collaboration we have with the college administrations, our Youth Peace Ambassadors have been given special slots during weekly assembly sessions to engage in peer education. As a matter of fact, during each assembly day, 2 or 3 of our peace ambassadors walk up in front of a general school body and discuss pertinent peace-building topics. And as a matter of fact, that makes them to build their confidence and to become active change agents and peace builders. Thanks to our interventions equally, we were able to come up with a peace curriculum, one of its kind in the nation, a curriculum that serves as a handbook for peace building and peace club activities within the schools. And we are about to take it forward to the ministry for implementation. Thanks to our interventions equally, our Youth Peace Ambassadors have been able to commemorate international days related to peace within the school environment. The International Day for Peace, the International Day for Non-Violence, World Science Day for Peace and Development, amongst other international days. And the importance of this all is aligning global peace concepts with local realities, thereby grooming our students as global citizens. Thanks to our interventions equally, we have been able to train 20 peace volunteers who are so committed, passionate, and engaged in our peace club activities. And that falls in line with our sustainability plan. Our youth peace volunteers are going to take up the peace club activities in other schools within the Obili neighborhood, other schools within national territory, and our mission, our dream is to take the peace club activities to the different parts of the country. And we are pleased to announce that thanks to our social media publicity, other schools are enjoying the work we are doing, and they are already sending applications for us to extend our peace club activities within their schools. I therefore use this opportunity to say that we are changing the narrative as far as youth voices for peace is concerned within our schools in the Obili neighborhoods. We are trying to shift from the traditional mentality of top-bottom approach in peace building, whereby peace building was an exclusive domain of the discipline department in schools. But right now, we are pushing forward the top-bottom approach, whereby the students themselves are effective stakeholders as far as peace building is concerned within the school environment. And therefore, we conclude by saying that gone are those days when the youth used to be seen as victims of conflict. Gone are those days when the youth used to be seen as perpetrators of conflict. But now, we are realizing that the youth can equally be effective stakeholders as far as peace building is concerned, if at all they are given the necessary platform to do so. And our peace initiative, therefore, strictly aligns with United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250, which emphasizes on the great role played by youth in peace building and security. And we are so pleased to be part of this global peace agenda. I therefore use this opportunity to thank Makerere University and the Rotary Peace Center for giving us this opportunity to engage in this life-changing mission. I use this opportunity equally to thank my mentor, Dr. Chris, who have been so instrumental as far as this project is concerned. And together, we can all amplify our voices in peace building through our commitments at our different ends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eka. Also, when you go back, send our regards to Brian Imbelmo. Thank you for your presentation. Now, the next presenter is going to present virtually, and her name is Priska Nyasha. The other name, you can mention it if someone, a volunteer. Anyway, we shall do that later. But she's going to present online, and I hope the people handling this at the back have this ready. Priska Nyasha D. I'll abbreviate it, but she's from Zimbabwe. And she's going to talk about amplifying women's voices in local peace building initiatives in Nyanyazi Chimam. Yeah.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. And in this initiative, we structured it in such a way that men would not feel challenged or threatened when it came to the positions that they held, but rather the approach was to ensure that men would feel that they are partners, they are valued, their opinion and their contributions are appreciated, but that women also had a contribution to make towards community-based peace building. So my initiative basically looked at formalizing the involvement of women by ensuring that it's not just done clandestinely, but it is done in such a way that there are structures followed, structures that actually allow women to contribute confidently, to contribute meaningfully to processes that bring peace to their communities. So what we did was to ensure that we brought together women through human rights training. We brought together women for a mentorship practice that saw women of different ages sharing experiences of leadership and peace building. What were the challenges? What were the experiences? Who could help and who could support women in ensuring that their roles and their contributions are not excluded from the peace building discourse? This SCI was also conducted with the basic understanding that transformation is a process. The transformation of community mindsets is a journey and not just an event. And it will take time to ensure that women are fully and wholly incorporated into peace building initiatives. We held trainings in 6 wards in Nyanyazi. We held trainings with local leaders. We held trainings with young women. We held trainings with older women who are also within these societies. We ensured to aim that women were aware of their rights. We ensured to aim that women were able to speak boldly and to speak confidently, to share their views and to share their experiences when it came to building peace at community level. This meant taking peace from the home into the community. This meant taking peace from the individual to the community as a whole. So in this social change initiative, we were aiming at cascading information from those who felt that they had information about peace building, those who believed that it was their role, to ensuring that the roles of women that they played in the past were appreciated and that platforms were also created by the women themselves and by other community leaders to ensure that women's voices were not left behind. So we were able to ensure that we established 6 community-based peace building committees at ward level as we operated in 6 wards. These wards are incorporative of women and men of different character, of different qualifications, of different experiences. The constitution differs from 2 women to 3 women, a 50-50 sharing of roles and responsibilities at committee level, with the men also involved. We were also able to ensure that women, Nyanyazi is a farming community with an irrigation system that is actively running. We were able to ensure that women were included in the irrigation management committee. We have 2 women from the women we worked with who were able to assume roles within the Irrigation Management Committee in Nyanyazi from these trainings. And we were also able to celebrate women joining the school development committees in Nyanyazi for the local primary school. So this social change initiative, so women's contributions actually being appreciated and structured in a way that the contributions of women are not just assumed or are not just thought to be there, but we outlined what are the roles of women that they play in building peace from the home, building peace within the community, and ensuring that, and ensuring that women do not continue to feel excluded from the development discourse, as this would also affect their participation even in other activities. I'm not sure if I've left anything out, but basically this was what we looked at in Nyanyazi. Allow me at this time to thank everybody who was part of this journey with me, Cohort 9 Fellows, Professor Helen, thank you. My mentor, Dr. Charlotte, thank you very much for all the help that I got from you, and for all the fellows that have been able to contribute to the success of this, and to those who made sure that I was able to be here virtually. Thank you so much for not making me miss out on this. I will not be taking any questions or answers, at least virtual addressing gives me the liberty to go offline whenever I feel like going offline. But thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you, Priska. Kindly stay online and follow because your question might come under that category. Dr. Safia comes from Nigeria. She heads the Zahaya Healthcare as the executive director, and the facility works on neurospinal surgeries and treatment. So you're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Dr. Safia Stephanie Musa. I work with Zahar Healthcare. Zahar Healthcare owns the Kano Neurospine Hospital and the Kano Serene Clinics. So we focus basically on neuro health and spine, actually. Peace building. My initial SCI, okay, so we have an NGO, the Edushine Support Foundation, and we actually carry out a project, or do I say initiative we call the Power of 50K, where we give women and youth 50,000 naira. It used to be big money before, not anymore anyway. We used to give 50,000 naira as empowerment, for them to start their small businesses. So initially, that was my SCI. But as we started the classes, and the trainings in Makerere, I noticed that most of the peace building framework, or do I say model, were more not proactive, they were more reactive, really. And they don't really, it was more about the institutions, the countries, the economy of the countries. Like the IEP, most of the trainings, they focus on the country's GDP, institutions, governance, and all of that. And I'm like, who is looking at the mental aspect of it, really? And I'm like, does conflict really start on the streets, or does it really start from the nervous system, So I decided to change my topic and do this, the promoting neural health awareness for women as a peace building strategy. I decided to focus on women because women are the, should I say the neck? The neck is the most important part of the body, right? Not the head. It's the neck, right? So women are the neck of our home, the household. So I decided to focus on the women because if we start with the women, and create awareness on how they can control themselves, their mental health, the brain, we'll be able to get somewhere. in Nigeria nowadays, you find a lot of youths, going astray. There's this moral decadence. And with moral decadence, of course, you have a lot of conflicts. And if the mothers, and I just concluded that it seems the mothers are tired, they're exhausted. So why don't we focus on how we can create awareness for women on how they can control their mental state and, the stress they are going through towards this topic. So we focused on Northern Nigeria. You know how it is in the north. I don't know if you know anyway, where we have majorly Muslim women that cannot express themselves. They are in there taking everything in. So we decided to focus on the north, and we went to Bolari community in Gombe State. I worked with different medical personnel. We had a team, and the district head of the community. Thankfully, he was awesome. He actually gave us a space just by his palace there, where we carried out our awareness program. We had 50 women who we created awareness with. Like I explained earlier, we had a medical team. We had a psychiatrist as well. Before we started the awareness, we held a medical outreach anyway, so that we could build that trust, with the women who aren't just coming there to talk, analysis paralysis, but we're giving and then, getting them to open up and, we could get a lot from them. So we carried out the workshop and we had a lot of responses from the women. Thankfully, it was delivered in Hausa language. And so they understood what we're saying. Most of it is science, the brain and all. So we were using the fingers, different things to make them understand what we are saying. So it's not difficult for them to understand. So it was a one-day workshop in Hausa language, 50 participants directly, but indirectly it's plenty people. Plenty is pidgin in Nigeria, right? Okay, so many people, indirectly. And of course, we integrated the service delivery, the workshop, we had before then. And then we carried out activities, to make them get involved, role plays, different things like pull rope and all of that, so that, they could understand what we're saying, and the hand-raising activities as well. I didn't know we could share videos and, a lot of photos. I would have prepared that slide so you could see the videos of the women, really participating and all. Anyway, it was a successful one, and we had the brain there is the science of the project, really, and the participant, the women, I would say is the implementation, and then the district head who was there is the institution that, of course, we'll be partnering with. We have an ambassador in that community at the moment who is, carrying on the awareness program for sustainability. And we are working with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, to get this, intertwined in what they are doing in the Ministry of Women Affairs, link it up with most of the projects and interventions they are carrying out for women. And then we're hoping that Rotary can mainstream this Gombe model into the peace building structure, the framework, for sustainability as well. I don't know if I've missed out anything. I think that's about it from my end. So for sustainability, we're working with the Rotary Action Group from Peace in the Nigerian chapter. They're already keying in. We've already started partnering. The plan is to go to different schools, to carry out we have the simple calming tools. We want to be teaching the kids as well. So for me, it's more about preventive. It's a preventive peace-building strategy, and not a reactive one. I'm hoping that when it gets to the Q&A session, I'll be able to answer more questions on this. But I wanted Eric to, okay, he didn't get the flyer. I wanted him to project this, so that we can see the simple calming tools that we, taught the women, and that was part of the role play, activities they got involved in. And they were really excited about it, like, okay, it makes life easier. You don't react on time, you pause, breathe slowly, drink water, all those kinds of things to, reduce conflicts in the home. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Safia. At this moment, we are going to welcome a few questions, if they are there, and comments, if any. Yeah, but I believe their papers will be put in the repository. Not so sure, but we'll get clarity on that, so that those who want to read more can access them. If there's any question, that goes to those who have presented under gender health and peace building. Please, you can raise up your hand, and I'll give you a half a minute to, yes, doctor. Kindly give him the microphone.
Goes to the daughter of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Melvina. A quick look at the statistics of Sierra Leone. 49% of girls drop out of schools around primary level. It is similar to Uganda. 45% also drop out of schools. This is a big problem. And this group of people, they don't fit in government structures for employment. It's actually our biggest problem. And as universities, we should tackle this area. Your presentation talked of strategies for combating gender-based violence. I realize I'm an activist a bit. We established a small library in Gulu to receive these children who dropped out of school, went into marriage. The marriage is not working out. They are beaten. They are stressed. In that library, counseling, we teach them basic skills so that they are able to go and make some little money for the family. And it makes a big difference. Maybe the violence is coming because the girl child is not able to participate economically to the family or not cook well. And we tackle that, and we have seen it is solving a lot of problems. Not just emphasizing the rights of girl child, because we want that girl child to nurture the family. We bring the boy child, we counsel them together, give them basic skills, how to make money, to fit in the money economy, and they go back, and it makes a difference. I would like to know if you can compare these strategies with your approach of emphasizing only the rights of girl child, how to grab a man's property. Just compare a little. Thank you. Sierra Leone, yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Mine is a comment. I have two comments to make. One is on women and how we are training them to be resilient and also to contribute to peace building, ending violence in our domestic spaces. I want to add to this that many times our cultures are responsible for what women are enduring and have to go through. One, they have taught us that whatever happens in the house has to be private. And that explains why many times women experiencing gender-based violence feel ashamed as victims, and the perpetrator is left to feel the powerful. This story can change if we learn to open up and share the evil that is happening, and we stop the blame game. Don't blame women for the violence. Don't put excuses for bad cooking. It's not reason enough to promote gender-based violence. The other is the role of ending violence. Yes, let's be inclusive. Men also are equally affected when they experience gender-based violence. So let's look for strategies that will redeem the women, but also the men. Many times, because again of our culture, the men don't know how to deal with powerful women, women who are empowered, women who have income. So let's nurture the boys to also understand and learn to live with women who have money. Let's understand that when the money is in the home, then it benefits all of us, and then gender-based violence can be addressed. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine goes to Dr. Safia. Household stability is something good for all homes, and everyone should contribute. So let's put emphasis to ensure that all stakeholders in the home do contribute to household stability. But my final comment is to do with your narrative. Until today, I always thought that my head is better than my neck. So can you clarify more how the neck is better than the head?
I think that everybody needs to know how the neck is, and I'm holding this. It's very exciting, and this is a rare one. Most studies do not focus, or projects don't focus on this type of area. So I want really to commend the gender team. They've done an excellent job, not to grab the men's property, I didn't hear that. Yeah, but what I wanted to ask, because once you talk about gender, and most of this violence and abuse of young girls involves another partner. And so what plans do my colleagues there have for sustainability and expand this? Because if you have an empowered woman with a disempowered man, which are very many these days, and young men, so how do we, it may be a challenge, but it is a step that can go forward. But I think the initial stage of empowering women is excellent, because they have a ground, they have a footing, and especially I liked the school project too, because it's building from the very young people and then being able to really prevent this abuse and unwanted pregnancy. But I really would I will read this paper of neural health for women and peace for families. Thank you very much. I'm really proud of all of you. I'm not saying, and I'm saying this because I'm also a gender activist, and I'm not saying this because I'm a gender activist, but you have excelled in what you have done. Thank you very much.
To respond on the neck bits is just short, you know. You know, the neck is here. This is the neck, and then the head and the body. So the neck is the one holding the head and the body together. Do you understand, sir? So the neck... So yeah, the head, the man head, yeah, then the children, family, you know, and then the woman is here, holding everyone together.
Discrimination, when we talk about peace building and development, we cannot attain our goals if we are leaving one party behind. I love the comments coming from the high table that we have to think about the men. When we were doing our awareness raising activities, we included the men because frankly, some of them don't really know what they are doing. That is why they are depriving women. They are not even aware of the impact of their actions, the deadly consequences, especially when the women are shy to speak up. They are under this cloak of silence. So by including the men, their eyes were opened. Oh, I'm hurting my wife. I'm hurting my child. This is a crime. So by so doing, we can get more equality and more respect for women's rights. And we are also open to collaboration. We love what you are doing in Gulu, right? And I think we are doing something similar because as the women are growing farms, growing gardens for their survival, what can we do? The men have left us to die, to suffer, no clothes, no food. And they like it like that because when they tell us do this, we are forced to do it because we depend. And while they are doing this, we're empowering them with leadership skills, advocacy skills, business skills, so that we can have sustainability. So it's a holistic approach. We are on the same page, on the same lines, and the Oasis Foundation is open to work with you. Let's create synergy and change Africa for the women.
Thank you, Melvina. I hope. And the host councillors, I won't mention you by name, but the host councillors are there. And some of us, after now emceeing on this occasion, I'll go and Mr. Sally will counsel me, will talk to me. He will even take me out. Yeah, so their role is to pamper us, and we are ready to be pampered.
So I'm going to try my best. I'm going to present the last two categories. So the first one is resilience, digital spaces, and human rights. So I will mention the candidates. Each one has 10 minutes. And I would like to give the floor to Patrick Kovado II, who is coming from Liberia. So, Kolokua, Patrick, the floor is yours.
All protocol observed. First and foremost, I want to thank the Rotary International family for my selection. I am Patrick Kovado II. My social change initiative project is titled Harnessing the Energies of Commercial Motorcyclists in the areas of peace and security, specifically in District 2, Pinsville, from where I come, Liberia, West Africa. Actually, this title of my project came about from my experience of our civil crisis. We've went through a period of crisis from 1990 through 2003. And during this time or period, most of the young people were affected. And while the crisis was on, they lost most of their parents and guardians. Now, during that time, after 2003, we came back home. Everybody came back home to start a new life. Actually, before that period, before 1990, we had different means of transportation. That is, we were used to taxis. But this time, a new kind of transport came in the picture. That is using motorbike or motorcycle. And most of our young people did not have jobs at that time. So they had to use that as a means of what? Survival. And also most of them lose their parents, so they have to do that to help their little brothers and sisters. So most of them use the motorcycle. We call that in our country, we call it keke. But in Uganda, they call it boda. Yeah, that's the common name here. In my country, it's called keke. So now, based on that, I decided to come up with this topic. There are always conflicts between the motorcyclist and the what? Law enforcement officers, the police. So you will see most of the times the riders will fall down and there's no genuine reason from those that are using the bikes. Also, when there are problems, when they engage the police officers and they stop them, they will always have confrontation with these law enforcement officers. Sometimes it leads to what? Fights. And those are conflicts that we have targeted and earmarked to see how best we can handle that and to mold the minds of our young people in our communities. So based on that, we decided to what? Target 300 of those young people in various communities. But my district dominated everything, and we look at those communities that were involved, and we selected the young people from there to be part of our training workshops. Those training workshops were 3, and we had one major dialogue that all of them came together. Now, those training workshops, we look at the themes that were very, very key. We look at conflict resolution, peace building themes. We look at gender empowerment. We look at youth empowerment also. And we also we stress the importance of peace, looking at the 8 pillars that we were taught. So I highlighted that in most of our trainings. We also engage, for collaboration, we engage our former Peace Fellows that came from this training. We utilize their expertise, and we engage the police officers to be part of the training, because most of those trainings has to do with law. Most of the young people that commute, they never had, like, when we use taxis, we go through driving schools. Most of them will just go through their colleagues and go through their training and just get on the road. So we wanted the police officers to train them to know which way is right and which is wrong. So they all went through those trainings, and it was successful. Moving forward in terms of sustainability, we had some funds. I want to say thank you to the Rotary International for those funds that were given. Also, we had to collaborate with other youth organizations to tap us up. In doing so, we talk about sustainability. After a year, where do we go? So we also earmark the Ministry of Justice. From here, when I'm going back, I'm supposed to meet them for continuity, because they thought to use my project to expand in other districts. We have 16 districts. So that was just one district that I covered. So when I get back, I'm going to get back to them so that we interact and move forward with that. So now, for sustainability, we are also looking at donors that are interested in our project, because this has to do with conflict transformation and peace building. Once more, I want to thank
the Rotary International for all that you have done, for the impact this will be transformed in my country as well as neighboring country. I thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. And the next person I'm going to call to the floor is Mr. Said Ahmed Mumin from Somalia. So, welcome.
I'm Saeed Ahmad from Somalia. I'm a civil servant. I see my detail has not been mentioned, so I'm a civil servant. I work for Somali government. Somalia has been a war-torn country for a long time. On the other hand, the Somali people have developed a strong telecommunication infrastructure. So, as long as peace building is concerned, we have policies that regulate the ICT sector. Those policies, especially there's one main policy that's called the National ICT Policy. That policy has a mandate of 5 years, and each 5 years needs to be redrafted. So our last version of that policy has not been stipulating using or utilizing ICTs for peace building. It comes to an end, or it expires this year, 2020. Actually, it expired 2025. So the new edition of that policy is being drafted now. So we decided to include a new article, actually policy provisions, that is stipulating leveraging ICT or using ICT as a tool for peace building. So my project was, my SCIs was about that. We conducted a start, we sit with the academia, we sit with the IT professionals, we sit with the, actually the ICT sector, we sit with the communities, because Somalia or Somalis have traditions that is a bit different than maybe other communities. They have a strong traditional leaders who have influence on people. So we also sit with the traditional elders, and we conducted a study that examined how ICTs could be utilized for peace building. Actually, that study was released August last year, and it was hosted by the Minister of Communications, actual Minister of ICTs, with the participation of the ministry senior staff, IT professionals, journalists, members from community, civil society organizations, members from civil society organizations, as well as other guests. The SCI's findings was handed over to the ministry senior officials, and we're hopeful that as we drafted the new edition of the policy that will work for the next 5 years shall have political provisions that clearly stipulating leveraging ICTs for peace building. We also hold training sessions, actually presentations for undergraduate students, and we share concisely how ICTs or actually digital technologies can be leveraged for peace building. Actually, as I said, Somalia has good telecommunication infrastructure, and that good infrastructure allows many social media trolls to spread hate and disinformation that sometimes lead to current conflicts. So we want to learn the other side of digital technologies, how we can use them for peace building. On the other hand, Somalis are somehow are at some level they are digital societies, because 85% of the adult people have mobiles, and also the country is a cashless country. So we use digital money, and mainly, actually 80% of transactions happen within digital solutions. So we did that. And I think you take concise message of the SCI. I would like to say that. And ultimately, I would like to appreciate Rotary Peace Center for the host, also Rotary Peace Fellowship, as well as the people and government of Uganda who was part of the program. So I will say thank you once more.
Thank you. I would say like all our fellows are taking a good time, so thank you very much for being tight. So we coming from the borders in Liberia with the resilience and the digital spaces with Said. So now we're moving forward with the human rights, which is the next category in this session, with Anton Lutz from Papua New Guinea. So welcome.
Greetings from the South Pacific. My accent, if you can hear it, might be American, but I have lived my life in Papua New Guinea, where I am also a citizen. So greetings from our land of Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea, like many places in this world, has a long history with gardening. And I'd like to open with this thought experiment that when the ancestors of the people who now live in Papua New Guinea left Africa and made their way to Sahul 70 to 50,000 years ago, they began to garden there, and they actually cultivated some of the very food crops that we now enjoy here in beautiful Uganda, namely sugarcane, bananas, and taro, were all domesticated by the people of Papua New Guinea. So they are exemplary gardeners themselves. This garden became a metaphor for the community work that we have to do to address sorcery accusation-related violence. I know that, like many places in Africa, Papua New Guinea has, or I should say Papua New Guinea, like many places in Africa, has beliefs about sorcery and witchcraft, which can lead to violence when people in the community are blamed and targeted, often tortured and killed by elements of the community. In the area where I grew up in Wapanamanda district, the knowledge of the law is strong, and people are aware that it is illegal to torture and murder others, as it is everywhere in the world. However, there is often a permissioning mindset which allows people to come to believe that this violence is normal, or it's understandable, or it's inevitable, or it's historical, or cultural, or in some other way permissible. When we think of it through a lens of human rights and the evolution of human society, it becomes clear that it is not. It is something that we have to address. In that sense, I think my SCI is very much aligned with some of the other projects we've heard about today, where we're addressing norms and beliefs around gender, or around genocide violence, or around the ways that we make peace and conflict in our community. The SCI, built on existing work I had already been doing in the country, in the district, to implement and trial an approach to look at how do we prevent this violence. Much work is already being done about how we respond to it through rescue, arrest of perpetrators, safe houses, trying to repatriate tortured people back into the very community where they were tortured. And this is very challenging work, but it does nothing to actually address the mindsets, the beliefs that make this violence inevitable, where these beliefs persist. The project took a cascade approach, or a pyramid approach, we could say, where I trained my 12 disciples, is what I ended up calling them. We ended up picking pastors because they were the ones who could give us access into the very communities in the district. So the district, Wapanamanda district, has around 70,000 people. About 35,000 of them were inaccessible to us due to tribal violence and mass displacement over the last 2 years of fighting there. However, the people who were still settled were the ones that we worked with. And we went into the various churches at 18 different communities in the single district in an attempt to seed communities of change that could sort of see each other changing in real time. So the community at Anji knew that the community at Unda was going through session 3 on the Tuesday and Wednesday of the given week. And so they knew that we're doing this together as a district. We did this for 7 weekly sessions, again, building on this idea that change does not happen overnight. Much of the approach to date to address sorcery accusation-related violence in Papua New Guinea has focused on raising awareness. And this awareness often backfires because it gets people quite upset and anxious when they hear about sorcery. And if I were to tell you that sorcery is a big problem in our communities and we should all do something about it, some of you may feel anxious about this. So we really focused on how do we bring the temperature down and how do we speak in ways that lead to dialogue and conversation and create that safe space for new neural pathways to grow. The tool that we used is the garden. So we talked about the garden is a good metaphor for our community, and we have good soil. Like, our communities are not bad. It's not that we are violent people inherently. It's that we have seeds, these bad ideas that are growing in our communities, in ourselves, in our families, which can be identified by the problems they will cause later on if we don't address them. In this sense, I think this is similar maybe to what Medard was talking about. We have to address these things early on and replace the bad ideas with good ideas, and then cultivate that space together. The impact that we found, you can see the numbers there, 45 to 90%. This was from baseline to end line. I asked them, what is your feeling about these witchcraft people? And left it very open-ended. Initially, 45% of the participants in our study, of over 368 people across the 18 communities, said something along the lines of, I don't believe it, I don't think sorcery is real, or those people are probably innocent, or we shouldn't hurt them, or something like that. At the end of our 7 weeks, that number had risen to 90% of the participants. And when we did exit interviews, and I have these on video, and the link to that is at the bottom there, you can catch it outside if you would like. They were very forceful in the new realization that said, we are now gardeners in this new garden. We have to take responsibility for tending this place that we have to live in. There's no one who's going to come and do this with or for us. We have to do this as a community. And I think that's really the impact of what we were able to achieve, was to take the training to the people and then to see communities begin to awaken. The facilitators are not going to leave. They're local people. They're from those tribes. They speak that language. And they are now equipped to continue to live this life as a agent of change themselves. The participants, you can see 4 of them there at the bottom. They're giving their testimonies about how they themselves have changed and what they now feel empowered to do. They will continue to work together, we hope, with their facilitators. Long-term impact, you can see from the 2025 community curriculum trial, we move into 2026. This project has been picked up by Divine Word University and UNFPA, and will be rolled out, has already been rolled out once last year to another province where it also had great impact. And this year we'll be going to another 12 locations across 7 Highlands provinces. So we hope that as we build on this community curriculum, which is so named because it targets communities in rural settings. It is not directed to students or to policemen or to health workers or to teachers who all need their own specific training for them. All of this training will continue to be developed. So as part of the sort of aligned work that we're doing with this, we also have resources that we're developing for schools that will be taken up by the Department of Education, we hope. And you can see there's a logo there for the Melanesian Institute, the Institute for Socio and Pastoral Change in Papua New Guinea. And they're working with a broad coalition of churches who are taking up a resource for pastors, which is also looking like that's coming together. So it's really a multifaceted approach, looking at the legal approach, the approach from the churches, the approach from education, and then this community approach. So this is our attempt, which is showing promise to try to prevent this violence before it even begins. Thanks to Rotary for your support for this program, for this university, especially for my colleagues in Cohort 7. Sorry, excuse me, Cohort 9. Excuse me, getting excited here. And I wish Cohort 11 all the best with this process of changing the world one step at a time. So thanks very much.
New seat in the world with my next fellow. So we move forward and build bridges between other continents to my neighborhood. So I'm gonna ask Mirjelandi Cabanzo Valencia from Colombia.
Good afternoon. I hope everyone can see me because I'm so small. So I am Mirjelandi Cabanzo. I am from Colombia. I am a researcher in peace building and deputy director of a national platform that works for youth and is youth-led organization in Colombia. And thinking on the work we do in Colombia, I decided to go beyond the boundaries of Colombia and decided to design and implement a binational social change initiative between Colombia and Uganda, creating and designing a participatory resilience index among young human rights defenders in both Colombia and Uganda. So you might be asking why I decided to do a binational project. I have 5 reasons. The first reason is that both countries have been dealing with armed and state repression and political violence that directly affect human rights defense. The second reason is in both countries, young people are the most affected by poverty, unemployment, armed conflicts, exclusion of decision-making processes, so they are facing multiple risks that both countries share, and especially young people. The third reason is that young people have organized and responded to these challenges, to their local and national problems. But programs and policies only perceive them as a source of violence or victims of violence or only as beneficiaries. They are not considered usually as agents of change, nor people that can create collective actions to respond to change these realities. The fourth reason is there is a lack. There is a lack of research, a comparative research between Latin America and Africa. And finally, there is data colonization. Most local organizations, local communities do and collect data, collect information that global north institutions are requesting to collect, but nobody is asking these local communities, local organizations, which is your definition of resilience? Which information is the most important for you? So how did I do a binational social change initiative? I conducted virtual workshops, interviews, and I started by creating alliances with a youth-led organization in northern Uganda called Youth Advocacy Network, and I used also the platform I belong to in Colombia that is called Agenda Joven Colombia, that means Youth Agenda Colombia. And I use these platforms to go to other youth-led organizations, to youth representatives, and then I apply participatory methods, qualitative methods, quantitative methods in order to discuss, reflect about which is their what was their definition of resilience, of risk, of vulnerabilities, of even opportunities in the particular context of each country. And then I gather all this information to design a common survey, a virtual survey that was launched in both countries. So with all this information, we were discussing and we get to the point that a resilience index should summarize, and this is a research but also an advocacy tool, which summarize what is the different practices or strategies of resilience, which type of risk both young human rights defenders are facing, and finally, how each country, each group of young leaders understand well-being, or what we call in Latin America, coming from an indigenous perspective, buen vivir. That means living well, or how you promote well-being. So what I found was that young leaders from both countries have a moderate level against what I was expecting to receive. And that is because one of my hypotheses is because I needed more representation of those districts, of those regions who were most affected by violence, by forced recruitment, and for other type of situations that are against young human rights defenders. Particularly in each country, Colombian young leaders connect this resilience, they connect this understanding of resilience to long-term situations. So they will be thinking on how they improve their living conditions. So resilience will be more correlated, and that was a statistical measure that I applied with a research team in Colombia. It will be more related to well-being, to this buen vivir. And resilience is activated when it's trying to improve these material conditions of life, because those external risks, they cannot be controlled. The resilience in the Colombian case is higher when the social fabric of each Colombian leader is stronger, and when mechanisms for self-protection, mental and physical health are put in place. Meanwhile, on the Ugandan scenario, Ugandan young leaders connect resilience more to short-term risk instead of living well. I mean, I was expecting that this dimension was stronger, but they are responding to this ongoing situation that they just need to respond and adapt quickly. So, and at the same time, for Ugandan leaders, the community perspective of their interventions to improve mental health issues and participation is highly valued. For them, protection mechanisms should have a human security perspective. In both countries, psychosocial risk and strategies, mechanisms to improve their citizen participation, how they respond on gender-based violence, and how they can increase the environment protection are the main topics, the main issues in terms of risk that they want to address. So with all this initiative, which was the main impact? In both countries, young leaders accepted to inform and improve and take all these insights to improve their programmatic areas of intervention, because we are talking about young leaders that are already working on their local context, and improve these programs and continue and enhance their human rights defense. They also accepted, as that was my previous assumption, that the importance of collaborating, of creating a South-South cooperation, a global South cooperation between Africa and Latin America. So with all this initiative, which is the main conclusion, and it's also an invitation for every single person that is in this room, resilience can't be reduced to an emotional strength. It's a it's a social and dynamic processes. A participatory resilience is the index, is a research tool, but it's also an advocacy, because in the middle of this process, I was also conducting workshops on how to collect data and then use it to do advocacy. So this tool is very important, that should be escalated to other regions of each country, but also going beyond those boundaries and include other countries. That's another way of escalating this particular tool. A participatory resilience index will also honor all the fights, all the struggles that each young leader, each young led organization is promoting in their communities. Is a way of honoring these struggles. And also at the same time, it's a strategy that could help to create protective environments to the human rights defense. These protective environments should start from the early stages and not wait until they become adults. Local youth organizations have the capacity to design and implement high-impact projects. That's another conclusion. And it is possible to work as a binational Global South network to increase the recognition of this collective agency, the impact of the work of young leaders, while we imagine alternative futures and we get this emancipation for both continents. Because it's better if Latin America and Africa, we continue sharing experiences because we share histories, and we can also share strategies to respond and create a living well, a buen vivir, and protect this and create this protective environment for the human rights defense. So thank you, the Rotary Peace Center. Thank you, the trustees of the Rotary International Foundation. Thank you, my fellows, and all Cohort 11 for listening to me. It has been one of the biggest and very lovely process journey being in this fellowship. Thank you so much.
There is no doubt that ICT influenced democracy and therefore peace. It first started as a rumor, but it is in record that Cambridge Analytica was contracted to sway election in America, Kenya, and some other countries. That one is in record. So that also gave us the light that really ICT plays a big role and can influence democracy and peace. In Uganda, we don't have proper guidelines. If you remember, as we were approaching an election period, UCC issued that we are going to give you internet during election. The PS issued a different message. Then government took a different action. That means there's actually a gap in the policy, a big gap in the policy. And this research really fits very much to fill that gap. Mr. Ahmed, if you can share exactly some of the policy guidelines that you recommended to government of Somalia in respect to this, it would really help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Said, just additional, are you mindful of the fact that the internet and ICT in general can be weaponized? Thank you.
Government. Maybe you didn't know that. It was a country that survived without government for like 20 years. So in that years, the economy has grown. So you can see that sometimes economy is more powerful than the government. Or economy, or let's say the private sector has covered a role that the government was supposed to cover. So private sector is usually more powerful than the government because Somali government was just recognized in 2012 as a non-transitional government. When it comes to recommendations that we provided, I think that depends on the local context or how the local peace building can be built. We recommended that based on the cultural and religious values, Somalis are more conservative when it comes to religion. Also, they are clans, and they are loyal to their clans. So, the traditional elders has power, has influence. So we recommended when it comes to the way we can implement or the way we can recognize ICTs for peace building. If the government says that you guys use ICTs for peace building, who will implement it, or what will be the implementation? Who has the power to implement those recommendations that have been provided? So we said, take the religious leaders, because they have role in society. And they are able to talk to society and say that our population kindly leverage the digital technology that you have as a tool for peace building. Also, traditional elders as a moral leaders of the societies has also a huge role, so they can play in implementing or using technologies for peace. So actually we provided, we said that incorporate the role of traditional elders into this journey. Also, do not leave religious leaders behind, because they have role. And I will say that I think the most powerful people that are in Somalia who can lead or who leads Somali communities are traditional elders and religious leaders. So we can't leave them out because they are key players. So we recommended, when it comes to recommendation, take those two in. Also, the digital technologies has already created a negative impact, because as I said, trolls took ICT opportunity or digital landscape opportunity as a tool to spread hate, animosity, and polarize communities. So that caused, or that actually teach us that we can leverage, if it has a negative impact, at the same time it can have positive impact. So we recommended to take the impact we have seen, which was actually positive, negative, to convert it into a positive one. Also, we take religious leaders as key players. We recommended civil society as one of key players, and religious leaders as one of key players. That's the first question. When it comes to next question of the gentleman, yes, we know it can weaponize conflicts, and we have seen it already, because we have a number of social trolls who based outside the country, maybe Euro America or somewhere else, who always ignite conflicts or fuel conflicts, and daily spread hate, aiming at polarizing or further polarizing communities. So we said the government must recognize that, and policy must have articles that demands using it as a tool for peace building, as well as articles that restricting how we can use it. Can we use it as we want, as we're using it now? No. Because we have seen that when it comes to current conflicts, militias or rebels using or leveraging this strong connectivity and using social media to communicate or to spread their agenda, their awkward agenda actually. So we say, if it made this negative impact, simultaneously it can make a positive impact. So let us leverage this as a tool for peace building. Thank you.
Presentation of our brother Mr. Do II regarding the Boda regulations and peace building training. I think in the majority of countries on the continent, and especially in Eastern Africa, here before I was in Congo, so also there, we have a big problem in terms of Boda. It's a big concern in terms of safety on one side. I mean, we have all seen how they move around, but also security, right? Often they are a source of violent crime, conniving for robberies, at times murders, but also sources of insecurity because they might pass information to, for instance, in Karamoja, many were colluding with cattle rustlers, moving them around one side to another. And so, as we are meeting here today, I think it's very important if we actually take inspiration from the experience that our friends in Liberia have undergone in terms of regulation, but also training for peace building to create these networks so that bodas, rather than becoming a source of unsafety and insecurity, can also become a source for effective community policing. And so I hope that as we have our brothers from Liberia with us here today, and in the case of Peewee for the next 2 months, we're also able to cooperate well together, and also with the security forces here in Uganda, to exchange ideas on how to improve regulations as well as safety and security for bodas here in Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico.
Yeah, my name is Brian Kithinji, and I lead a wonderful team of people back in our country in an organization called Policy Action Initiative. And before I start, I have to say a big thank you to them, because everything that you've done in the past year, and especially on this project, couldn't be done without their efforts, their support, and their contributions. So thank you to them, and if they are online. When we think of our cities in Africa today, we know that many people are moving to the cities. And why are they doing that? They are doing that because they are searching for jobs, they are searching for education, they are searching for a better lifestyle. But when they come to the cities in Africa, they find that these amenities are not there. So where do they most end up? They end up in the informal settlements. We call them slums in Kenya. Here in Uganda, you call them ghettos. In Nigeria, you call them slums. In South Africa, we call them townships. And this is a big problem recurring in every African city. From Maputo, Lusaka, Algiers, Cairo, it's a big problem of informal settlements which are expanding and expanding. But we know that these informal settlements, these slums, have three main problems which are very pertinent for us to consider. The first problem is a problem of crime. But why does the crime exist? Because the young people do not have opportunity. And we know that a man who does not have, according to the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, that if a man does not have a job or income, then he neither has life, neither has pursuit of happiness, nor does he have freedom. He just merely exists. And we know that if we do not, the solutions that have been proposed to dealing with the crime has been workshops, where people go to a 5-star hotel, attend the workshop, eat samosas, take photos, put on social media, but they go back to the conditions that they were living in. The other solution that we have seen is community policing, adding police officers, but we know violence begets violence. It has been tried and tested from the days of Socrates until now, that you cannot solve violence with more violence. So I decided to come up with a new solution. And the solution is very simple. It's magical, but it uses the resources that we have. So in Githurai 44, we have 10,000 people living there according to the last census, but on a size of land that is 13 acres. In Githurai, it is very famous for having a lot of crime. If you ask any Kenyan about Githurai 44, they'll tell you do not go there. If you are not, even if you are a Kenyan and you have not lived in Nairobi for a big time, you can't go there without support or without young people accompanying you from the area. You will lose all your property when you go there. But this is a story that we have changed, and we can continue changing more and more. So what did we do? We identified that, in slums we have a problem of sanitation, and we don't have proper drainage, we don't have proper garbage collection. So most of the garbage used to be thrown at a dump site. So we identified the dump site. Then what we did is that we went and cleared the dump site, and then we formed an urban green park. It is important to note, in our cities we have green parks, but those green parks are not accessible for people who live in informal settlements because you have to pay, they are very far. But what does it mean that a person who lives in a slum cannot access a green park. We can create for them so that they can have these amenities there. So that is what we did. And then we took a number of young people who are former reformists. They were doing petty crimes. They were part of Kieleweke youth movement, around 30 young people. Then we trained them on agroecology techniques. Now notice, this training was happening in the environment. We did not take them to a 5-star hotel. We trained them how to use the resources that are in the environment. And what are the resources for agroecology? We know there is land, but most importantly, they are plastic containers. So we trained them how to cut the containers, how to use them for container farming. We know that there are used tires, which have been thrown away and disposed of. We trained them how to use them for vertical gardening. That was very important. And after the training now, we went and we started to do the farming on a size of land that is 1/4 acre. But imagine, and this shows the potential of what we can do in Africa moving forward. From that 1/4 acre of land, you are able to produce, over a period of 3 months, around 20 kilograms of vegetables, especially kales, which is the most consumed vegetable in our country. You eat it with ugali. And an important thing to also note is that when you plant vegetables through this process, remember, one, you are doing mulching, so it means that you are not using a lot of water, you are not losing water. Remember, again, the soil that is there, you are able to mix it with chicken dung, so it's very fertile. And the growth period, typically if you were to do other forms of farming, would take you weeks and weeks, but this one would take you 8 weeks, and you have your vegetables from planting to harvesting. And so after that, what you were able to do, the young people, some of them consumed it, but they were also able to sell it at the local market, and they got income of around 30,000 Kenyan shillings, which they divided amongst themselves, and they continue harvesting, they continue planting, and this is a process going on. So in concluding, I want to challenge you. You know, for a very long period of time, we have been saying, and we know that our continent has been defined by 3 challenges. One is the challenge of hunger, the challenge of poverty, the challenge of unemployment. Unemployment we may not be able to solve because you know our population is rising, but the challenge of hunger has to be solved. Remember, before colonization, we didn't have a big problem of hunger in Africa. So we have to ask ourselves, how did it come about? It's because we stopped farming. But farming is something that young people are interested. It's only that they don't have the opportunity. What we have been able to do in Githurai 44 over the last 6 months has shown that young people can farm, but they just need the skills and they need the opportunity, they need the investment to purchase the hoes, to purchase the pangas, and that is what you are able to do. But we can take this project to other cities. We can take it to Kampala. We can take it. Why can't we have vertical gardening here where you are staying at Mugenyi so that you can consume the vegetables there instead of buying it at Wandegea market? Why don't you have it in your city in Dar es Salaam instead of changing? You can change your diet as well. You can also, because it's a shame that as a continent we import over $100 billion worth of food when we have the land and you also have the population and the labor to do it. In concluding, I have to say a big thank you to Rotary International for the support for funding this project. But also I have to say a big thank you to the European Union Global Youth Mobilization Fund because you are able to secure 5,000 euros to expand this project to Kilifi, which is in the coastal side of Kenya over the next 6 months. I also have to say a big thank you to SDGs Kenya because last year we were also awarded in December for the success of this project. And we look forward to more and more. Remember that a man who doesn't have a job or an income does not have pursuit of happiness, does not have freedom. So if we want peace in our societies, we have to create income generating opportunities for everyone. We have to create economic equality. We have to create hope. And the only way to create hope is by investing in the skills and the resources that communities have them. Our slums should not be defined by violence. Our slums should not be defined by drug abuse. They should be defined by opportunity. They should be defined by the resource of the young people living there. Thank you very much. I end it there now. Quiet.
Thank you, Brian. I just want to rescue something that for me it was really meaningful from this presentation. It's like returning to our origins and root is not going backwards, but it's moving forward together. So in that sense, I'm gonna call someone from Philippines. His name is Jega Jera Malaga.
Thank you, Jay.
Are we still together? First of all, I would like to express Asante, and I thank him specifically for waking me up with his ever-passionate delivery and ideas. Again, I'm Jay from the Philippines, but as earlier mentioned, I'm also Ugandan, and so I'd like to share my local name. It is Magara, which means life. Life in Runyankole, and in Kinyarwanda, Kirundi, it means life and health also. And it's the same thing that I would like to wish for you as you listen to me. I'd like to request you upon Dr. Sophia's prescription, if you can check your neck, if they're still connected to your head and to your body. Self-care is the topmost survival skill. Anyway, on to my social change initiative. I was in the South Pacific, near to the islands of our fellows Anton and Lou, when I've learned about the meaning of dreaming, especially among the Aboriginal Australians, which means describing how the ancient beings tried to shape the world and tried to establish rules that until now they still live by. I was also taught by a Hawaiian scholar, Poka Leinui, that the first stage of decolonization is dreaming, and that is to imagine, reimagine indigenous futures. But the second, third steps to that process are commitment and action. And so, for that reason, I named my social initiative Dream, not just to aspire, not just to hope, not just to reimagine, but dream as in DREAM, that is dialogue, research, education, action, and mobilization, through which I facilitated a community-based participatory action research at Mariapolis Piero in Kenya. It's the international intercultural community where I also belong, and we try to advance sustainable peace and development and ecological stewardship. As our co-fellow Suko tried to share the nexus between peace and development, I am taking it further because, not just because of my earlier studies, but local practices and knowledge also teach us that peace and development are really connected to environmental stewardship. The framework is very important to me because I am an ongoing PhD candidate. I'm trying to be a sociologist. So I'd like to share with you that the framework that I'm using through this SCI is an integration of sense, capability approach. He has a definition of development. Galtung's positive peace, from which IAP's positive peace pillars are based. And then Ubuntu philosophy. I am, because we are. It's the interconnectedness also of the past and the present and the future, the land to the water, our ancestors also, and to our future. And the organization that I belong to, it's called Focolare Movement. They have a lifestyle that divides life into different aspects. Through this framework, we see peace and development as relational, ecological, and agency-driven. And again, through the DREAM methodology and the elephant peace model, which I am trying to develop as a young sociologist, we see also social transformation as systemic and multidimensional. The implementation of my SCI was done through 4 phases in which we had leadership formation, interreligious dialogue, also collaborative action, and ecological awareness workshops. But what I am really happy about is after the implementation of my SCI in Kenya, in which during the 3rd phase of my SCI, we have been invited to be part of the Africa Peace and Environment Summit as an implementation partner of the Peace Track Working Group. With Dr. Helen, we were working together in that group, which means that my SCI was and continues to go beyond Kenya, even beyond East Africa, and through this continental platform. This means that sustainable change can be promoted, can be created, can be established when communities work together, when we exchange knowledge, resources in order to co-create resilient, ecologically conscious societies. I am very, very happy that upon coming back to Uganda, both the core group leaders of my SCI in Kenya would like to continue the SCI there through their own organizations, and me also coming back here, I was able to network with existing organizations that I've been collaborating with, but thanks also to my co-fellows, for example, Vivian and Medard, they helped me in the other expressions of this SCI, especially online. And I have also received proposals, possibilities of working together with Cohort 11 also, especially those who are interested in environmental peace building. So what I'm trying to say is that, especially concluding my social change theory, is that if we consolidate our efforts, resources are exchanged, are shared, and conflicts are reduced, but the most important thing is outcomes are multiplied. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay, for not spoiling my project. So as you see, you're gonna know more and hear more about Cohort 9/11. So next person is Hendoka Joel from Cameroon, and the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I'm Hendoka Joel from Cameroon. I worked on sustainable agriculture to empower Cameroonian youth and foster positive peace. We know in life we all need to eat like human beings, right? But there are areas where people are unable to eat due to the fact of insecurity, instability, and at times, to an extent, we can say war. So my social change was carried out in an area where there is insecurity. There are those who go for days without eating. There are those who stay maybe for weeks in hunger and poverty, but we tried our best to see how we can mingle and work in these restive areas of the Anglophone regions of Cameroon, because Cameroon is divided into two main regions. We have the Francophones and the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. So this SCI project actually took place in the Anglophone area of Cameroon, of which is a restive area. Now, the challenges faced by youth along this area, they are almost the same like those of other youths in other parts of Cameroon. But specifically, we choose this area because there, the challenges are more accentuated as compared to the other areas of Cameroon. So actually, we worked in Kumbe and in Jikwa areas. Youth in these areas, some of them are unemployed, others are involved in violence activities, others are also involved in illegal, they participate in other illegal activities within the communities. So apart from that, we also had other issues like community violence, which is as a result of scarce resources we have within the community, group of villages fighting each other as a result of scarce resources. So we based our SCI on these problems to see how we could tackle them. And in order to tackle them, since it's an area where agriculture is one of the main activities that is carried in this area, we said we could capitalize on it and bring in the message of peace. Yes, and Our approach was an integrated one. We had to include agricultural, smart agriculture, economic empowerment, and peace building initiative in order for us to really get the attention of youth within this area. We worked with a group of youth, 60 of them, male and female equal, from the age of 25 to 35. In the course of activities, we had peace building workshops. We visited Models Farm, and we also taught the youth on the best farming techniques or method of doing farming, which in the long run even increase and improve their yield. We also had sessions with the media, the local community media around. We used those media like a radio station in Jikwa, where we had to preach the message of peace. This was done because the SCI was for a program of 6 months, so we had 4 periods of a radio workshop where we actually preach on peace on the airways. Apart from that, we also met the agronomists and model farmers who taught some of these youth best farming practices, and also we also look at economic empowerment. In the light of economic empowerment, we worked on bookkeeping, how to promote agribusinesses, and how to transform what youth remove from their farm, how they could transform or add value to it in order to increase their yield and empower them. Then, conclusively, this project, we had some feedback with regards to testimonies that we got from most of the youth. About 97% of them said they learned a lot during the field visits which we conducted in model farms. And others also testified that as a result of the leadership training which they got during our conflict resolution classes and or peace building initiative which we had with them, some have been able to carry our leadership position within the communities. And some even have political ambitions of going into municipal, because Cameroon this year will be having municipal elections. So I have about 5 youths who have who informed me that they have declared their intention to go in for election, because in the course of our lectures which we had, we were encouraging them to be leaders in their communities. That we should not only allow the old to manage us, but the youth can also do some of these things and promote development within their community. Lastly, we have other youth, although most of them maybe shy away from agriculture. That is something for the old. It's not, because most youth today, they look only at, their mindset is mostly based maybe on ICT, things linked to ICT. But we tell them that apart from ICT, you can also make a living through farming, especially when you learn the best farming practice method. So some youth testified that as a result of what they learned in the field, they have benefited a lot, and they intend to invest in agriculture so that they can at least make a living. This project, we will say, was a success to at least 92%, because from the feedback which I received. I want to use this opportunity to thank the mayor of Njikwa Council and the administrative, the DO for Njikwa, who they greatly helped me during this period, because it's an area of insecurity. They supported me morally, financially, in order for me to carry out my activities within these areas. I will also end by thanking Rotary International for the funding, for the funds which they gave us and which to support us in our activity. I would also like to thank Makerere University for their works and action which they have been doing in order to promote peace within our regions and areas. I would also like to thank my fellow colleagues, Cohort 9, for the good time we shared together, and to also welcome Cohort 11, that this is a nice place they should learn and put in practice all what they will get. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. So from Kenya, Philippines, Cameroon, we move forward to South Sudan with Maurice Camilo Bagaiwa.
Yeah, thank you very much. In the first place, I want to say all the protocols are observed, and I can see like our heads are becoming now more heavy than our necks, but let us be resilient. So I wanted to give my sincere appreciation to the Rotary International, also through the Rotary Peace Center, and also not forgetting my mentor, Dr. Charlene, for this remarkable task. She was able to help me during the difficult time. As a result, I was able to complete this assignment. And also, I'll not forget to appreciate my host counselors, Dr. Martha, and also Madam Margaret. Thank you very much for this accompaniment. In the first place, South Sudan is the place people regarded as a place of war, conflicts every time. That's how they define us, but still we can change the narratives. So my SI was about enhancing peaceful coexistence between the IDPs and the host community in Yambio. So early 2024, there was an outbreak of conflict, ethnic conflicts in Tombra, which displaced thousands of people to the nearby areas. Some people ran to UNIMIS camp, United Nations mission come in South Sudan, and some went to Catholic Church, and some went, a good number went to Yambio, where I carried my SI. So as a result of this number crossing to Yambio, then they were received by their families, some were received by their friends, and some were able to rent their houses. And as a result, after a few moments, then these people, there were some tensions between them, the host community, and also the IDPs. As a result of the scarce resources, and the number has come and doubled. There was tensions over the lands, water, and also food. It becomes a problem, and also some basic services like hospitals and schools. So there were sources of conflicts. But upon all that, my intervention through the Social Change Initiative was I conducted a baseline assessment together with the host community and also the IDPs to know what could be the possible solution to all this problem. And we came up with so many activities in which we prioritized a few which had major impacts. One of the key activities we came out with is to conduct at least a dialogue between the host community as well as the IDP, so that these two groups can come together and discuss their issues and see the possible way how they can leverage all these challenges. Two is training the peace ambassadors. The project was able to train about 42 youth and also women and elderly people, and they form themselves into 3 committees to support any conflict or any tension which might be arising from the community. So all in all, we were able also to give some basic skills training on livelihood as well, how people can dig some agriculture and also some small scale business to support these IDPs as well as the host communities. So basically, these are the things we do in order to leverage that gaps between the IDPs. As a result of all this, the impact came in that there was an improved relationship between the IDPs and the host community as a result of the intervention, and also there was increased collaboration between IDPs and the trust between IDPs and the host community. And we were able to strengthen the local structure of the traditional leaders so that they can be able to attend or hold any situation which may arise in the due course of the staying of this IDP within Yambio. As a result, the sustainability part of this project, the community themselves, they have owned the ownership of these peace committees. So without the community owning these peace committees, it can be a problem. At the first place, these peace committees were not welcomed by the traditional leaders. They thought that these young people, they are coming to grab their responsibilities, because in our area, I don't know in your area how does it be, in our area, traditional leaders always get some income from solving some dispute within the community. I don't know in your area how does it, are they receiving some salary or how do they get some benefit? But in my community, they get some income in the just course of resolving conflicts. So afterwards, when we discuss all this, then they were able to understand the roles that these committees are not coming to grab their responsibility, but they are there to help their efforts. At the end of the day, then they came together to the common understanding. Two is these peace committees are also integrated into the local government structures. The government knows about them. They are also supporting them. When there is any training from the other partners, they are able to be called and also support, get some other skills. And this peace committee, they are also doing tremendous jobs within the community, solving some tensions and also creating more awareness, because the peace committee comes from the different communities. If there is anything, they are able to address before it escalates into the bigger problem. So the major impact also I can testify to you. I personally, as a beneficiary from the Rotary Peace Center and also the Rotary International, upon attending this class session and outside class session during our excursion to northern Uganda, also to Rwanda, I found myself that African problems are together. So all those problems I found during this field visit and also during the classes and how the possible solution could be. So I came out with a new initiative by establishing a new organization called African Youth for Peace and Development, in which I'm the founder. Yes, in which I'm the founder and as executive director as of now, because I want to push this idea till it starts working well. So that's why I'm here to beg everyone, like a previous speaker said before, we have a newborn baby. The newborn baby is not longer for me, the baby is for the society. And that's why I'm asking the support of anyone to support the baby itself. So we need a collaborative effort in order to maintain our country and our society more peacefully. So I will beg to stop here and say thank to everyone, my Cohort 9 Peace Fellows, also my colleagues from Colombia, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and the Philippines, all the countries represented here. Thank you so much. So much appreciation also by welcoming our Cohort 11. You will enjoy your staying here and also enjoy your time. And we shall be very glad to watch you online, or if you can offer us the Cohort night ticket to come and attend your graduation, it will be of great impact. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Morris. I think there's a lot of newborn babies yet to be fit, so a lot of work. So the last person from this category is going to be from Gambia. So Gambia. The Gambia. Sorry. Well, okay. Again, we are on live. So from the Gambia, Mr. Suwaibu Jame.
Observe due protocols. My name is Waibu Jame, as he said, coming from the Republic of the Gambia, commonly known as the Smiling Coast of Africa. Actually, my comment here initially was premised on 3 different experiences before even talking about my SCI. And those experiences were in 2010 when I was deployed in Darfur. the Darfur region of Sudan. In 2016, after our election, presidential election, there was a little bit of post-election dispute. And also in 2023, when I was deployed in South Sudan as a UN peacekeeper, as a staff officer actually. So having these experiences, I think it was in 2024 when I was in South Sudan, I came here on my way to Kigali. I passed here, and there was a colleague from my army who was part of Cohort 7. So when we chatted, actually we couldn't see as a result of time. So when we were chatting, he recommended this program to me, and he sent me the link. It was in February, so I put in my application, and fortunately I became part of Cohort 9. I was supposed to be Cohort 10, but I wrote back to Rotary to let me join Cohort 9, due to some military schedules ahead of me. So gracefully, and I thank God for the Rotary Center to permit me to be part of this great cohort, Cohort 9. Okay. So going back to the beginning of the program, when we came here, we started the program, and lecture after lectures, we started interacting, and at one point there came this lecturer, female, I don't know her name, I can't catch her name, but she gave us lectures on music. So I was like, how is music supposed to be part of some peace things or something? But later during the lectures, I found out that definitely whatever we learned through that class session is very instrumental and fundamental to bring peace to the communities. And those were in time when I also had this very, very nice song from one of the Nigerian artists. He died, may he so rest in peace. Mohbad. Music, he says, I think music doesn't need permission to enter your spirit. So that was when I came up with my SCI, Melodies from the Gambia, harnessing music for a peaceful election, something like that. So after this course, I went back home, and now to implement my SCI, I was like, okay, now being a soldier in the armed forces, sometimes we are not the favorite to the to the citizens. But I think coming up with this SCI and aligning it to the forthcoming election, that is December 2026, I think I have to go out, speak to these artists. Perhaps some will listen to me, and they will help me, implement my SCI. And gracefully, my starting point was actually where everything ends in ease for me. That was when I met. Can you please that photo again? That was when I met one of Gambia's renowned artist, Jaliba Kuyate. As you can see in the photo, these are some of the medals that he won. And I think, to cut this story short, I met him and I discussed my topic with him. He told me, son, despite you coming from the armed forces, I think this is one of the most profound contributions that we can see. Not only you people, living your life to see us safe at night or, all the time of the day, but also to make your contribution to ensure that the Gambia from now hence continue to experience peaceful elections. Because in 2016, what happened was election results were declared and the incumbent refused to step down due to so many reasons that we wouldn't know in the barracks. So that led to some political impasse, and the West African countries has to send in some peacekeepers that were later known as ECOMIC. So he told me now to avoid some of these things. I think whatever your concept is, we will help you. Personally, he said, personally, he himself will help me to talk to the young artists, including himself, to make sure that we organize concerts to spread the message for peaceful elections. Starting from the campaign period, during the elections, and also after the elections. So the first, he assured me that any artist that I approach or that I wanted to work with, let me talk to their management first, and later let him know so that he can do the underground work to make sure that everything goes smoothly for him. And I thank God, gracefully, that's what happened during the course of the implementation of my project. I was fortunate to have two activities. One was, anyway, they cannot all be on the same scale. So it's like, I managed, the first one was with a lone artist. And, that event like attracted a lot of young people. And I was surprised, like during the breaks, his MC was using the opportunity to talk to the youths that the Gambia has faced two difficulties, when it comes to elections. That was in 2016 and also in 2021. So he was appealing to the youths that let us try as much as possible, since we are the ones used as tools by the politicians to achieve their ends. One thing we cannot do for them is to be used as tools against each other. At any stage of the electoral process, be it during the campaign time, the election day, and even when the results have been announced. So, that helped, a great deal to boost my SCI topic. And the other event, even though I was absent from there, was a giant group of artists, young artists as well. And now, what they have promised me, or what they have assured me, I cannot take that to be, what they have assured me is that before our 2026 election, they will come together again and maybe compose one very good song in different languages to ensure that the message of peace is sent across the whole of the Gambia. Because I conducted my SCI in a village called Yundum, and we all know once music is being announced, a concert is announced to be held at somewhere. It's like people come from from far and wide. So as I said, I conducted 2 successful music concerts, one in my presence and the other one in my absence. And as I said, from this guy, Jaleba Koyate, we called him. I think I had 2 sessions with him. Apart from the first day I went to him. The first day actually I went to him, I was in uniform. So the next other day I went to him, I wasn't in uniform. So that was when he told me, now, I think for us to make a meaningful outcome of this year project, I think we'll have to engage some other stakeholders of elections. So, I had that discussion with him, and he assured me that he will help me maybe by time around June, July, shortly before the election have been held, so that we can engage some other components of the government society to make sure that we raise the awareness, and also probably funding for us to get more young artists and also spread the message across the country. It's not going to be centered only around where I come from, Yundum. It's going to be like the whole country tour. Even whereas we are going to hold concerts in 2 other big cities or towns in the country. And the other thing I did before my comment, that was shortly after the end of my SCI, shortly before it ends rather, I met this drama society. There is a group of young people who engage themselves, involve themselves in, in drama, making comedy and also spreading messages of